Hi everyone, this is the Eyes right here with Ian Burke. Ian Burke is the man, the legend. Okay, the legend founded managed Outcast, managed Escape, and he founded TLC. This man is phenomenal. I'm telling you, like I can't thank him enough for being here and just hey, because I've been having technical difficulties, and please excuse the background, and this is not the room I reserved in mind for this interview. So please excuse me. Just want to set that straight from the beginning. Um, Ian, how are you doing right now?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. I'm doing well.
Good, good. And I wanted to say as well, the look that I'm wearing right now, this is Infinity I merch, straight up from Ronald Lopez and the cousin Dante, who started this line for Lisa. So this is the new Lisa Left Eye Lopez clothing line. Um, so I wanted to get that part out the way, and also just if you're ready, we can get into the questions.
I'm ready.
All right. So the first question I wanted to ask, because when you said you had got started in this business, not only doing music but you also do film, and you have someone that's also doing that did Raven's Home.
hmm
Yeah.
Well, I started off. I'm originally from Mount Vernon, New York, and I moved here to Atlanta right after I graduated high school. I came here to study computers, and
Hmm.
I inadvertently fell into the music business because one of my classmates at DeVry was a musician, and they were opening up for a well-known band at that time, and they needed help moving equipment. And that one particular night just changed my life. I fell in love with the industry, and it was something that I wanted to be a part of. So that's how I got into the whole music thing. The film and television thing didn't come till much later, when I started dabbling in management of young actors, in particular the McLean sisters, the China McLean, Sierra McLean, and Lauren McLean. And then from Daddy's Little Girls, I don't know if you're familiar with that, Daddy's Little Girls, the Tyler
I
Perry
think
movie.
so.
And then,
Yes, I love that movie. Love
yeah,
that movie.
those three girls were actually sisters in real life.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
China went on to star in Disney's The Ant Farm. She
Hmm.
had her show on Disney. And then from there, I went on to manage another young actor named Navia Robinson, who
Hmm.
was in the reboot of Raven's Home. She played Raven Simone's daughter on Raven's Home. So
Yeah. No,
that's how I get. And
I
then
remember.
go ahead, go ahead.
Hmm?
What were you
No,
saying?
I say I remember her now. Like I remember watching the show and like catching up because I've always been a fan of That's So Raven. Always
Hmm
been a fan of Raven Simone, so I've always been a fan of her. So it's like when I watched Raven's Home, I was like, let's see how she's doing now. And she had the twins, she had the daughter. I was like, this is beautiful. It's nice
hmm
seeing her as a mother now.
So that's how I got into it. And then in 2020, I started working as a producer on some of my own projects. That's how I got into film. But music has always been first for me. It's been my first love, and that is how I was able to build the legacy that I have right now.
Which is phenomenal because you're involved in a lot of amazing things, and I know that there's another. So I know, of course, managed Outcast, managed Escape, managed and co-founded TLC, but there's a new group that you're working with now. Like, can you tell us about the girls?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, I was doing a radio show here in Atlanta with Ryan Cameron, and
Mhm.
Ryan asked me if I felt that with social media and the way the music business is today, would a TLC work in this type of environment? I said, absolutely. I feel like TLC would have thrived in this type of environment because they were characters. If you put a camera on any of them at the time, if they were putting up posts and things of that nature, their following would be out of this world. Um, so I decided a young gentleman by the name of Ray Daniels had suggested that, I try to get back into the girl group thing and put together another girl group. And I did. I put together, a young lady named Mickey. I was working with her on one of my film projects when she was 16. So she was the first one. And then I had auditions like I did with TLC. And
Mm-hmm.
I found Layla Brooke White, or AKA Pounds, and I found Kai Lewis. And together they're known as Peach Three. I'm
Mm-hmm.
super excited about them. They're incredible performers. They're 18 and 19 years old. Um, and then what I went for, I purposely went out to put together a group that would work on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And what do they do on social media? Well, one of the first things they do is they do dance challenges and things of that nature. So I went after dancers first. I went after girls that dance. Now, singing and rapping, that was all would be second as far as I was concerned. I was just blessed enough to have a group of young ladies who could actually sing and rap. And yeah, so what we did, we just recently did a cover uh of Chris Brown's Under the Influence.
Mm.
And
Okay.
there's a dance routine to it. They're actually singing the song. So not only are we doing covers and we're dancing to the covers, but we're also singing the covers, which is something that a lot of people aren't doing. And that's what we decided. So everybody who sees this, who hears this, anybody that's on the live now, hey, I want you all to go check out Peachtree Music on all platforms: TikTok, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And definitely check out that couple. We released a single called Ghost Rider. We have a video for that. So definitely check them out. I'm hesitant to call them TLC 2.0 because I don't want the backlash. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Because TLC fans are very hardcore. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we
You
are.
know,
We are.
there ain't no TLC. All right, so I didn't put them together to be TLC. There'll never be another TLC as far as I'm concerned. That's like trying to say there'll be another Michael Jackson or another Prince. There will never
Yep.
be any of those. There may be people who imitate them like Usher and Chris Brown, but there'll never be another Michael Jackson. There'll never be another TLC. That's
Yeah.
not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to replace TLC. I'm trying to give this younger generation a version of what was so exciting back to us in the 90s.
Yes. No, I definitely understand that. I definitely understand that. So who in the group would you say is the left eye?
Oh my goodness. Um, for different reasons, that I look at Mickey Six. Um, Not only like she did a video that reminded me so much of Left Eye. If you go down my timeline, you'll see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's eerily like Left Eye. If I could pull it up, I would show you guys. There's a certain scene in there where she's looking in the camera and she smiled, and it was like the ghost of Lisa just haunted me at that particular moment. And I'm not playing. Like, anybody who knows Left Eye, if you look at this video, it's a video that she posted last year, right when we were getting everything started. Her boyfriend was murdered,
Oh,
and
my
so
condolences.
she was still going through a lot of pain and depression about it. And she did a video that I posted about grief. You know what I'm saying? And it was very impactful. And at that point, she reminded me of a young, vulnerable Left Eye. I must say.
Well, that's beautiful. But that part's beautiful. Is I'm not, not the death. I'm so sorry that she
No,
lost her
no, I
boyfriend.
didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, that has to be really, really tough for her, especially at a young age. Like that'd be really, really tough for her.
Yeah, it was. It was a tough thing. Teens,
Um,
teen is a teenage thing, it's crazy. These kids nowadays, have no respect for life. So it's very hard. It's still hard on her. That was her first love. So
I will say this though, it is cute that they are the same age as when TLC when you got them. I
yes,
love that.
yes.
So I want to circle to when the group had started forming. And of course, you and Crystal were like, we need a female version of BBD.
Mm-hmm.
Decided to find a couple of girls. You found a girl named Kim.
Kim. Kim was the first
Kim.
one.
Kim
Yeah,
was the
she
first one.
very good singer, amazing singer. But I wasn't putting together a vocal group. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? BBD to me wasn't they weren't, they weren't so much known for the vocals. They had really cool songs, but it was the dance and the hip hop
Mhm.
influence that they brought to the situation. So this young lady was an amazing singer, but didn't quite fit the bill, even though I tried to uh, put a square peg into a circle hole. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It didn't quite fit. And then I put another young lady in the group who was named Lisa,
Hmm.
and the situation with Lisa was she wasn't as committed as Crystal was at that time, and um, so I would go back and forth with, oh, I I gotta replace her. Oh, but she has the look that I need, and this is gonna be really cool. Her look is really cool. I need to keep her. So, when I went and sat down with Rico, who was going to round out my group with Tion, he inadvertently brought this young lady, Lisa, to this audition because she was about to go back to Philly. She was about to jump on the bus the next day and go back to Philly. She was looking for an opportunity. But as I said in many interviews in the past, that I actually passed on that guy.
Hmm.
I was like, no, you're not what I'm looking for in terms of style. My whole thing was like, I wanted a tomboy group. I wanted a group of tomboys, just pretty
Yeah.
girls who were comfortable, like LL Cool J said, an around the way girl. Doesn't have to be all dolled up, tight clothes, high heel shoes, and things of that nature. So I passed on her and went and had my meeting with Rico and the rest of his crew in the back area. And Crystal stayed up front with Lisa, and I guess Lisa rapped for her.
Hmm.
And Lisa came into the back where we were and said, "Listen, you got to hear this girl rap. You need to hear her rap." And so she came in and rapped, and I was really amazed. And she reminded me of a young Moni Love who was really hot at that time in the early '90s. And I was like, well, shoot, if I could have my own Moni Love, that's great. Let's go. And I put her in the group, and I was like, okay, well, all I need to do is meet this Tion character. And we went over to Tion's house at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm.
And the moment I saw Tion, I was like, you don't even have to sing. So you're in. You're in. She was an automatic in for me. Her look was just so amazing. She's beautiful. First of all, very beautiful young lady. And just her swag. She opened the door. All she did was answer the door, like, what the F you doing over here? This time of the morning, I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm just like, and then at that moment, I replaced the Lisa I had in the group with the new Lisa and added T-Boz. and had Crystal, and we were all set to go.
All right. All right. Now that's a story. When I tell you that's a story, and I now something came to my mind because you said when you got the back after you said Lisa, no to Lisa, you said Enrico was back there. Did you tell him like, hey, your girl was not cutting it for me or something?
Oh, I did. I was like, I told him, and I wasn't mean about it. I was just like,
Yeah.
she's not dressed the way I want her. She's not tomboy enough. She's a
Yeah.
real cute girl that I
Yeah.
would see in Vogue or something. Had she had the singing chops. That's how she was dressed. She had on this, white pleather miniskirt. I'll never forget. And she was just a really cute, pretty girl. And I was just like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not looking for a girly girl. You know what I'm saying?
I get
And
it.
when I talked to her about it and told her that she would have to change her clothes, she said, I thought this is what you wanted. She said, I
Mhm.
dress in
You
baggy
did.
clothes. You know what I'm saying? I said, well, perfect. You're in. You know what I'm saying? And the rest is history, as they say.
All right. So when Crystal, I'm so glad again, I am so glad you gave her that second chance. Well, they're like, listen, oh, say what you gotta say, let me hear you rap. What I'm saying? You gave her that chance. I'm just like, if he didn't do that, we don't know where we would have been now.
We wouldn't be here probably.
We would
You know
not
what I'm
be.
saying? Because that was a very specific recipe. TLC was a very specific recipe. I dare say, even with Crystal being replaced later on, the combination of Rosanda, um, Tion, and Lisa was such a
Mhm.
crazy mix. You know what I'm saying? Just like the title of their second album, Crazy Sexy Cool. There was just something about that mix.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, and don't quote me on that. I'm not sure if they would have had the same success with Crystal. You
I
know what I'm
agree.
saying? So that is not to say that Crystal wasn't talented. She was. You know what I'm saying? And she was the reason why I went so hard in trying to find suitable people for the group. Um, but there comes a time when you have to make changes to make sure that the formula works.
Yes.
And I don't think anybody thought. I didn't think when I was putting together the project. I'm certain that Pebbles wasn't thinking about anything when she decided to remove Crystal and add Chili
Chili.
to the mix, that this was going to be one of the biggest things ever. I don't think any of us thought that way. So
Understood. Um, so I know that when Crystal came in, what I'm saying, and then you got Lisa, you got Tion, so all three of them are here. And the name Second Nature. Now I remember someone saying that it was because Lisa and Tion were playing around, and I think you were letting like listen, I'm glad y'all got chemistry, but we need you to focus. This
mhm.
is second nature to you.
Right. That's all it was the phrase. It was a simple phrase that I was saying that they were going to rehearse until these moves or these lyrics or whatever at that time were second nature to them. And the name just stuck. Lisa immediately went out and did a graphic for me, did a logo for me, which was really cool. And the name stuck. That's how they became second nature.
Yes. Yes, and I thought that was dope. I was like, okay, second nature, the tomboyish. It's like I really wanted to hear I got it going on. I still kind of want to hear I got it going on. Like the
I'm so mad because I kept that tape for a while and I ended up losing it with a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, That was Jermaine put his foot in it. Had
Mm.
Lisa, not Lisa, but Tion singing in a deep voice, and that's probably the only recording where you hear Crystal singing on there with the girls. You know what I'm saying? And I hate the song is gone. I really do. I really hate that there's no somewhere somebody has that tape.
Jermaine
And
Dupri
doesn't
has
even realize. No, I don't think Jermaine still has it. You know what I'm saying? That
he
was
said
so
like 10 years ago he had it, but maybe it's done changed over the 10 years. He
right.
said he had it still.
Oh well, listen. If he has it, if I were him, I would have had it playing on some of these documentaries. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot, you got that. That's a very everybody would want to hear the very first TLC song. You know what I'm saying? That's something that everybody would love to hear. Just like you just said, you say, "Yo, man,
Yeah.
I would love to hear that record."
Hmm.
Not to put it out or anything, but I would definitely put it up on social media. If I had that record, I would definitely put it up on social media.
Like, I think he said he had it. I gotta go back and look at it because it's been a while since I looked at that. Because there's been they didn't record it, because you're focusing on crisscross, and then there was they did record it. So I gotta go back and look at
No,
what he
they
said.
recorded it because I had a copy of it.
You have
They
what?
definitely recorded it. I have a copy. I had a copy of it.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I was just I don't know. Hopefully I get to talk to Jermaine Dupri at some point and have him a part of this. That would be great. So I that would be great because and we talked to you, we talked to other people about TLC, but we never really talked to Jermaine Dupri. And he has
Mhm.
been such a grip in TLC. Like, yeah, he was at the beginning. I know at times when he went on, he started doing So Def and doing his own thing, but it's like he was still on every album or at least on a remix. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, like he
cool.
was one of the ones actually responsible because before Criss Cross
Mhm,
came out, um, we had the girls. Like for me, I had everything together for the girls except for the music. And
mhm,
Jermaine and I had this relationship um, to whereas like he was a producer, a young producer, but someone that I believed in wholeheartedly. Like I just knew that this kid was gonna be big. Like he focused any money that he got, he had in his makeshift bedroom. He had all of this equipment and stuff like that. And he was recording, and I was just like, man, if you do some songs for my group Second Nature, I'll help you out with Crisscross. And that was the deal that we had made. So
okay.
I went and did a photo shoot with Chris Cross and things of that nature. And trying to emulate the package that he saw that I had created on Second Nature.
Hmm.
And that's what he wanted. And he picked a picture from that, and that was one of the pictures that led to them getting signed to Columbia Records.
All right. All right. I know. I remember Lisa being involved with them wearing the pants backwards thing.
Well, I mean, the whole writing, because the Chris Cross, the two boys didn't write. They weren't rappers.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that was when I say artist development, that was artist development at its finest. Between the okay, I have a trivia for you. Who was the DJ for TLC back in the day when they got started?
DJ Dolemix.
Okay, well, okay. So between Lisa and Dolomix, they were all writing the rhymes, and Jermaine, they were all writing the rhymes for Chris Cross and creating that movement for those two boys. And what came out, Totally Crossed Out, came out and became a phenomenon. Sold 4 million records. The single Jump sold 8 million records. Um, and that was like part of the spark that lit Atlanta on fire.
Hmm. I think that's dope too. How did you meet Jermaine?
I was Jermaine, a gentleman that I went to school with, Kenneth Kidd, rest in peace. Was like we were going to school. I dropped out of DeVry and I started attending the Art Institute, taking their commercial music program.
Mm-hmm.
And gentleman was in my class or was in some classes with me, a Kenneth kid, and he was like, "Yo, I need you to meet my brother."
Mm-hmm.
And he took me over to Jermaine's house and introduced me to him. And at this time, Jermaine was working on his first female group called Soul Times Leather that they put out on Geffen Records. And
Okay.
that's how I met him. And we became fast friends. You know what I'm saying? Even though at the time he was only 14, 15 years old. And I was what 19, 20. You know what I'm saying? He was just, it was a kid that I admired, his work ethic and everything that I admired.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I made it my business to stay close to him.
All right, that's
You
good.
know when you know something is going to be big, you stick, you make sure that, and that wasn't the only reason. It's like I know you're going to be famous and all of that. He was just a good kid. You know what I'm saying? He was just a good kid. I just enjoyed hanging around him.
All right. Um, so I'm going to like skip to the next round of questions I have because I feel like the next round of questions I wanted to ask is going to come up in the slides.
Okay.
So we're going to get to the next question, which is just holiday questions, holiday with Lisa. So do you remember ever spending any holidays with Lisa?
Oh, did I? I'm sure I did. When she wasn't on the road, when I had my time was Lisa was in spurts. In the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
Lisa and I lived together,
Yep.
and that's how I met Tupac. That's how I met Wanye Morris
Mm-hmm.
from Boys to Men. In this little apartment that we had off of Windy Hill Road here in
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta. And so we'd stay together. So I'm sure we had some holidays together, but when she wasn't on the road or she wasn't working. So I can't remember any holidays that we actually spent together. And to be honest, the one thing, the biggest memory wasn't a holiday, it was her 30th birthday.
Okay. That's
That
what counts.
yeah, that was huge for me because she surprised me by having Prince come to her 30th birthday party, and she knew that I was a huge Prince fan, and she kept telling me that he was coming, and I didn't believe her, and she was like, "Listen, I need you to go meet Prince's bus." And bring the bus into the cul-de-sac. And I was like, you're playing, don't send me on no dummy missions. She said, either you're going to go out here and you're going to, meet this bus,
Mm-hmm.
or you're going to, I'm going to send somebody else. So I said, all right. I jump in my car, drive out to the gas station. Sure enough, there's a bus there. That doesn't mean that Prince is in that bus, though. And I was just like, all right, come on. I waved them on. They followed me into the cul-de-sac.
Mm-hmm.
She gets into the bus, and I'm sitting around, and all the party gets, everybody's murmuring, it's Prince in the bus, and sure enough, Prince comes skipping out the bus,
Yeah.
walked into the house, and my jaw just dropped, and I shook the man's hand. I said, "It's a pleasure to meet you," because dude, like I was 14 years old when I started listening to Prince. And here he was, this musical genius standing in front of me, and I was just like, my God. So that was, I think that was a bigger birthday for me than it was for Lisa. Like Lisa and Prince were already friends. It wasn't a big deal to her. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was really cool. But that was my biggest memory. It wasn't like any type of holiday, even though, the house was always festive, especially around Christmas time and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't recall any holiday memories.
Okay.
Things.
Ian, he probably was very grateful for you because he said TLC is his favorite group. So for that, and know that he just shook the hands of the man that had co-founded this group, he probably felt really happy to meet you.
Not as happy as I was, but I'll take that.
Uh, all right. So I had holiday questions, but you say there's many holidays first, so we're gonna skip that and we're gonna get to the next part. I'm gonna get right into the slides. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Let's do it. Here is slide one. Lisa left out Lopez as QT. You ever seen this picture before?
No, it's the first time. First time. It's definitely because the tattoo, she didn't have that tattoo. That's a TLC timeline tattoo. So
Yep.
it had to be, it was after her QT phase. It had to be during her left eye phase because of the tattoo.
Hmm. Okay, so I always thought it was like before she came up to you when she was rocking them leather outfits. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, what I'm saying? She was wearing that leather dress when she showed up. So I was thinking maybe she was so in that phase, but it could be. It could be
Yeah,
like
that's
at
that's
100.
that eagle that she had put on her arm back in the day. But that was definitely during the TLC phase.
Oh, so she didn't have that when she
No.
auditioned.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay, so this is okay. All right.
Looks
Thank you.
like a Halloween costume, to be honest. Looks
Hmm.
like something that she would slap on because that big hair isn't, her style. So that has to be in the biker camp. She looked like she's a biker chick in that picture.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be a Halloween costume. I never considered that. Thank you. Oh, all right. Thank you.
Nah, no worries. No worries.
um, all right. Next slide.
Second nature. That was our very first photo shoot together.
Hmm. Do you like remember being on set of the
Yeah,
shoot?
I sure do. I
How was
remember
it?
because the photographer at the time was saying this is never going to work. He was like, yo, because the way they were dressed, he's like, I don't get it. It's not going to work. I was like, it's going to work. Trust me.
Who was the photographer, by the way? Do you
A
remember?
gentleman by the name of Steven Struther. He also did crisscross early photos as well.
Okay. All right. If I remember right, there was the same day of this photo shoot that they but it probably was a different photo shoot because I remember Chris was talking about wearing some outfits or something for a shoot and they were like kind of like slightly auditioning for like auditioning but not realizing they're auditioning individually for Left Face Records and with Pebbles and around at the times.
Yeah, that was after my tenure with them.
So can you tell us about that moment where it went from you managing to Pebbles managing? Like how the in between moment, like how did that happen on your end?
It's not it's not a flattering story,
Okay.
unfortunately, but it's just the way business was done in those days. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say I'm just gonna say this.
Okay.
Pebbles took these girls where I couldn't take them. She had relationships and power that I just didn't have. And if it wasn't for Pebbles doing what she did, again, we may not be sitting here on this phone call. So
Yeah.
I will say that and stay positive about the whole situation rather than tell you what really happened.
Understood. Understood. All right. So when you seen this look and you seen them, they do this photo shoot, like how was the like their attitudes? Like were they like happy? Were they excited?
Uh-huh. They were mean mugging because that's what I wanted them to do. I didn't want them looking again girly or pretty or anything like that. That's why they had on hats. That's why they had on oversized clothes, overalls. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
weren't supposed to look sexy. And that's what everybody was like, what are you doing? I'm just like, look, I have a vision in my mind. Like this,
Like let
you
you
know,
cook, let you cook.
exactly. Let me cook, please. You know, but
Yeah.
you don't look at the pictures. They were very excited. But you know, either somebody can easily look at the picture and say, well, damn, what are they mad at? They weren't mad. They were just being tough.
So you would say the part with the photographer saying that, would that be your favorite, like your favorite moment from the shoot?
That's the
You
most
remember?
memorable. Yes, that's the most memorable moment for me. Like that seared in my mind because he was like, "This is not going to make it. This is not going to work." And I've done after the girls started blowing up. I did several panels with this guy. You know, he went on to start doing artist development and creating packages. He used my photos to build a business for himself where he would create packages for people to shop themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because he saw how successful it was with the two people he photographed for me, TLC and Crisscross. He's like, okay, well, shoot, let me make this a business. So he did
Mhm. The
that.
value increased.
You know what I'm saying? And he put me on a few of his panels and stuff like that. You know, where he even admitted, it's like, I listen, I told him it wasn't gonna work, and boy, did I eat crow.
All right. So we'll move on to the next slide. When
That,
Chili showed up.
yep, that's all pebbles. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That's all pebbles. So what she did was if you go to the slide before, she added money. This is what this is the broke TLC right here,
Mhm.
right? See, go back. This is what TLC looked like when they got money. This is what I could not do. You know what I'm saying? This is the thing
Yeah.
that there's no way that I could have done. You know, I was a working guy at that time.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this is what money was able to do.
I see it. It's like life was put in, and I love it. I love it. Do you remember? Because I know you said you were roommates with Lisa when she had her first apartment. So like, do you remember um the moment where she was like, "Okay, we got this girl named Chili. You know, we're about to do this and that." Like, do
No,
you remember
because
this?
Tian, not Tian, Left Eye and I didn't move in until after the first album dropped.
Oh, after it dropped.
After the album dropped, yeah, that's when we moved in together. We had spent some time considerably apart
Mm-hmm.
after they did their deal with Pebbles.
Mm-hmm.
And and I didn't see them again until they showed up into Pebbles' backyard video. And what was very noticeable to me, there was only two of them. You know, at that time they had removed Lisa from the group. I was like, oh damn, not Lisa, Crystal
Crystal.
from the group.
Crystal. Yeah.
And I was like, where's Crystal? And like I was like, I had a feeling like that something like this would happen. I just hope that it
Oh, you didn't
wouldn't.
even know.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know that they had kicked out the group.
Yeah, it's
And
like at that point you realize the group was taking a life of its own. None of
yeah,
the original people were involved anymore.
no,
Wow, it gave me Destiny's Child "Say My Name" vibes.
when you looked
It
at the
gave me
video,
that.
we're like, yo, who are these two girls in this video? We don't know them.
Um, what was it? But no, yeah. So I remember that Chili got in the group, and they started doing their thing. They dropped the album. Like, is there anything from the first era that you remember? Like, well, first, do you remember when you first met Chili?
Oh yeah, I have a poster that I still have to this day. Um, it's framed and I have it hanging up on my wall. It was
Mhm,
this picture to on the right with them in the white with the white
mhm.
background. And I had them all autograph it for me. And this was, right before or right after. I think it was right before the album actually dropped. And yeah, they of course Tion and Left Eye wrote some really nice things. And Chili, I was just meeting Chili for the first time, and she, just scribbled Chili with all the hot sauce or something like that. That was it. But yeah, that wasn't the first time I met her. The first time I met her was actually on the set of What About Your Friends?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you were on set of the music video. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was on the set of What About Your Friends? Yes. Not the first one, not Ain't Too Proud to Beg, but I was on the set of What About Your Friends?
How did that happen? I didn't know about this at all. So how did it happen? Like Lisa was your roommate and that was at that point y'all were roommates and she like invited you on set or something?
No, it was, public. Here in Atlanta, like shooting a music video was a big thing. So folks were excited. And at that point too, um, I was, getting a little bit more involved with the face. So they were like, "Yo, we're shooting this new video for TLC. Everybody, come on down!" And they were shooting it in this place called Cabbage Town. And just a bunch of us was like, "Okay, yeah, we're gonna go on the TLC shoot," because it was like almost like being on a movie set, back then. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, cool.
Okay.
We're gonna be on the set. You know what I'm saying? And I knew the two girls, and I was just being introduced to Chile. But yeah, that's how we met.
Okay. All right. So now when it comes to the first album, like what was your thoughts when you heard the album? When you heard the title, you saw the looks, like you heard like what were your thoughts?
I thought I thought it was interesting. You know what I'm saying? I believed I already knew Dallas. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that Dallas knew what he was doing. Again, in your wildest dreams, you're not thinking like even with Outkast, like I had no idea how big the group would become. I'm just this guy who was blessed enough to be at the right place at the right time with these people. So you don't look at it like, oh, this is gonna be. I never said that this was gonna be the biggest thing ever. I was just like, yo, like I was just excited with the fact that it was done, that it was even done. Like I worked with a group that had a major label deal. You understand what I'm saying? That was what was big to me, man. It didn't matter that, this was going to be one of the biggest female groups of all times. That
Yeah.
just didn't resonate with me. What resonated was this is a group of girls. This is my vision. And they have a major record label and they're putting out music that people seem to like. That's as far as it went for me at that particular point in time.
And that's incredible too. Like that was just so incredible, and it just hit me again that well, actually, just hit me now that this month is actually the 23rd anniversary of Ain't Too Proud to Beg.
Is it the 23rd? I know that a couple of years ago, it was the 30th. And wait,
I'm
no,
sorry,
it couldn't have been.
sorry, the 30th. I'm sorry,
It's,
30,
it's
30,
the 30th anniversary of Crazy Sexy Cool.
33rd. Sorry, 33rd anniversary of Ain't Too Proud to Beg.
Got it.
I'm 33rd. I'm sorry, 33rd anniversary of Ain't Too Proud to Beg. So like that song when that song first came out and you first heard it, like where were you? How was that?
When I first heard it, I saw the video.
Oh,
I
okay.
saw the video first. And honestly, I believe I was over at Jermaine Dupri's house and we were watching. So that was my first glimpse of TLC as the group was the
Hmm.
video for A Too Proud to Beg.
Hmm. Wow. So
And
you were like, oh
again,
my
it was
God.
like, oh, we're on TV. We're on TV right now. And then from that point on, they did the Arsenio Hall show and things of that nature. And I was just happy again that, this is something that I was that I was a significant part of.
Mm-hmm.
And, here it is, other people liked what I had created.
Mm-hmm.
That was the self gratification.
All right. I'm glad. I'm glad too because, I'm glad that you and Lisa came back together. I was like, listen, we like, how did that happen? Like that moment where y'all came back together and started like, okay, we could be roommates.
Well, I mean,
After all of that.
I think Lisa was really, really happy that I had reconsidered and put her in the group. Lisa has always shown gratitude. Now, I'll tell you, like, it wasn't all peaches and cream with Lisa and I. We had our differences,
Mm-hmm.
and like I told you early on in the conversation, our relationship was in spurts. So I lived with her for a certain amount of time. Um, we were working on groups together. She had a group called Drip Drop that she had
Yep.
signed over to Savvy Records. I had a group called Je ne sais quoi. Uh, Je ne sais quoi and Drip Drop, they had Drip Drop had the younger brother. I had the older brother in Genesis Park. They were brothers, a set of brothers. One was in Drip Drop with her, and the other one was in Genesis Park. So we were working on these groups simultaneously. And
Mm-hmm.
things we had moved a couple of times, and I would handle things when she was out on the road. I would take care of the household situations when she was gone. At the time, also she had brought in a young Jamal Phillips, who was half
Mm-hmm.
of the group illegal. I had to register him in school and,
Mm-hmm.
take him, get him in school and all of that. So while she was on the road doing her TLC thing, I was at home, being a home mom type of thing. And, all of that worked, but for a minute. And then before the second album dropped, we had parted ways. Before Crazy Sexy Cool dropped, we had parted ways. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we weren't seeing things eye to eye. You know what I'm saying? I had my feelings about certain situations, and she didn't appreciate my feelings. And it's like, okay, well, it's time for you to go your way. It's time for me to go my way. And we didn't get back together until FanMail dropped.
Okay. Because I was about to ask you this one more thing before we go to the next slide. Because you brought up Tupac earlier. How did that happen when you met Tupac? Like I know
I
Lisa,
woke
but
up
like,
one morning and Tupac was sticking Thug Life stickers all over the house. That's how I met Tupac. I woke up, walked in the kitchen, and he's putting up Thug Life stickers all over the place. That's how
okay,
I met Tupac.
he was putting thug life stickers up in your apartment.
Yep.
So, okay, brother, how you doing? I'm Ian Burke. I'm guessing you're Tupac.
That was it. I said, "What's up?" He looked at me, said, "What's up?" And we kept it moving. Yeah, I wasn't going to stop him from putting up stickers. Like, all right, cool. Because Lisa drew on the walls and stuff like that anyway. Because Lisa was super artistic anyway. So there was drawings on the walls and stuff like that. We had a signature wall in the apartment where people would come in and sign their names. We had stuff like that going on. So I was like, all right, you want to put up these stickers? Go for it, bro. Go for it. He was cool. I was cool with him. We straight.
So now, okay, now two questions has popped up. What's your favorite Tupac memory? Like memory with Tupac?
That was it.
That was
Me
it.
meeting him for the first time. I see him off and on again in clubs and at music conventions and stuff like that. But the one thing that stood out with me was the very first time we met and what he was doing in my apartment with Lisa. Well, in Lisa's apartment with me
Yeah.
because she was paying the bills.
Favorite Tupac and Lisa memory?
Probably one night when we were all at a club, and they were cozying up. or what have you. I can't remember that night. I just remember we went to the club, or it might have been just me and Lisa, and Tupac was there at the club. You
Mm,
know what I'm saying? I'm getting old, bro. I
it's
can't
okay.
remember all of the specifics, but that was more than likely it. We didn't go to the club together. We probably went to the club and Pac was at the club already.
Okay, last one because I meant to ask this earlier with the album. What's your favorite songs on the first album?
Uh, 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 baby,
Aw,
baby,
that's a
baby,
good
baby.
one.
That's my favorite one from the first album. Yes,
What did you think of Lisa's remix of the song?
I don't recall hearing the remix of the record.
Oh yeah, she did a extended remix where she did a rap and I think she did a piano solo.
I know I heard it. I just don't recall.
It's okay.
I don't recall.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna ask this question. I just came in my mind again later. I already had it in mind. It's gonna come up later. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. If you didn't already, you're gonna see it.
Okay.
So next era, crazy, sexy, cool.
Crazy, sexy, cool.
Yesterday was the 30th anniversary of the album, and I was on Twitter like going crazy all day. I had a Twitter space that lasted from 9 p.m. all the way to 2 a.m.
Wow.
We were
Man.
talking so much about the album, about TLC, about Lisa, everything that was on our minds. We just put it on record. And even after, like, because Twitter Space had kicked us out about 12 o'clock. And I was like, okay, well, this is not how it's supposed to go. So we had to start another one. And we just kept going until like 2:30 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
So like this, so many of us love the album. Like this is their highest selling album, highest selling girl group album of all time. And you got bragging rights because this is a creation of yours. You have bragging rights. Like yes, Pebbles did this, such and such, whatever did that. But again, you and Crystal helped this become a thing.
Right.
If I didn't think about what y'all thought about, we wouldn't have Crazy Sexy Cool. So it's like okay, so I know you said you wasn't around, Lisa around this time. When you heard about this album coming out, how did you find out?
Well, see, the thing of it was, I wasn't with Lisa, but I was managing Organized Noise, who
Okay,
produced the biggest song on the album.
yes,
You know what I'm saying? So I knew
Waterfalls.
all of that, what was going on. And plus at that time too, I was in the midst of there was two things that were going on. I was still in communication with Lisa because I had started working with Elektra Records, and my office for Elektra and Lisa's Left Eye company. I'm trying to remember what the first name of our company was. Anyway,
Left Eye Productions.
I think it was Left Eye Productions.
Okay.
We were in the same building.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I was up on a different floor. Lisa was down. So I would go down and visit Denise Howard, was, I believe, the general manager of Left Eye Productions. So I would go down to the office all the time and see what was going on and hear the different things. I knew about Waterfalls, you know what I'm saying? Didn't
Mm-hmm.
know much about anything else with the album, like I didn't know that there were 3 videos shot for Creep. Um, or the release or anything else behind it. I was again marveling at her idea for a title, saying, "Damn it!
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wish I could steal that title because I just thought that it was the dopest title ever.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy, sexy, cool." And the funny thing about it all is like you know, all three names could fit any one of the girls at the same time. So
Honestly,
it was definitely it was a stroke of genius, but that was just how Lisa was. So that's how I stayed in the loop with
hello.
everything. Yeah, hold on.
You got you got
That's how I
quiet.
Can you hear me? Yeah, my
I
phone
hear
rang.
you know.
That's how I
Oh,
stayed in the loop with everything because we were in the same building um at the same time.
okay. So when you saw the album, you heard Creep, like what were your impressions of the aesthetics of this time, like the transition that they were making when it
I
came to
thought
the
it
concept
was
and their looks?
I thought it was genius. I thought that it was a smart move to go with Matthew Rothstein to for the video, the final video that they had shot, because it showed an evolution of them growing up and becoming the sexy girls that they were. It's fine, the first album, Kitty, and baggy clothes and all of that, but they were definitely becoming women, and I think that Matthew Rothstein captured the essence of them becoming young girls to young women, and it definitely sparked it off and set the stage for what was to come. You know,
All right. So when you heard the album, what were your thoughts?
My thoughts were, this is an Atlanta album. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Because we had the top three producers at that time working on the album. We had Dallas Austin, we had Jermaine Dupri, and we had Organized Noise.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Babyface wasn't from Atlanta, but Babyface had to be a part of the project. And he was a great part of the album. Red Light Special was dope as hell. You know what I'm saying? But Atlanta was really the one who brought the record home. You know what I'm saying? And Crazy Sexy Cool was a celebration of the whole Atlanta music scene encompassed in one album. I feel like that was the record that really defined us as a musical community here in Atlanta. Crazy Sexy Cool.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't Jermaine just doing his thing, wasn't Dallas doing his thing, wasn't Organized Noise doing their thing. It was the three of them coming together, working for a common goal. That's why the album sold 14, 15 million plus worldwide.
17.
17, my bad. There it is. There it is.
It changes. It keeps changing. We need, we need to be certified.
That's when you know that you have something, you have a thriller on your hands. That was our thriller. This album was our thriller. You know, it wasn't Confessions, it was Crazy Sexy Cool.
Like,
So of course it's going to keep selling. The more people, and TLC is still relevant. What group out there from the 90s,
mhm,
what I'm saying, with the exception of Escape, which I had something to do with too, but Escape for me was more of an R&B group.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? TLC for me, even though they were considered pop R&B or whatever, they were more of a pop group. They had crossed over a long time ago. We were
Mm,
now on the Hot 100 charts, more so than
exactly.
the urban hip hop charts. So yeah, like you could say 17 because it continues to sell. That's the long and the short of it.
All right. So Crazy Sexy Cool. What is your favorite song?
Oh, you don't have to ask. You know what my favorite song is. You already know. That's right. It couldn't be no other. I have a lot of songs that I love on that album, but of course, the evolution of Waterfalls to me was an amazing story. I think
Mhm.
that Marquez Etheridge, who wrote the song, did an amazing job.
Yes,
I
we
think
did.
that Organized Noise was very creative in putting that track together. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like that's the reason why that song alone took Crazy Sexy Cool from a 3 million seller to a 17 million seller.
So you said Waterfall's your favorite. Marcus Etheridge had did a phenomenal job, and
Hmm.
I think he did a great job too. Now I remember, I don't know if you've seen. So one of the things TLC did yesterday to celebrate the album, they dropped a pop up video for Waterfalls with
I didn't
Vivo.
I didn't see that, no.
Yeah, they dropped it yesterday, and they mentioned how Paul McCartney played an inspiration in the creation of the song.
Okay.
So, did you ever like hear about that being a thing?
No.
Because Paul McCartney has a solo song. I don't remember the name of it, but there's a song where he actually says, "Don't go jumping waterfalls. Please stick to the lakes." And it's the same melody.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just learning that.
Yeah, and he actually talked about it before. He said that they stole it from me, but whatever, I'm not gonna like go after them or something because it is a great song and it had a great message. So he's not like angry about it or whatever. He's just like kind of wish I got that credit.
Yeah, now I'm gonna have to talk to Marquez about that because I had no idea. I this is the first time I'm even hearing that. The first time, and I mean, I'm not surprised. Paul McCartney is a genius. You know what I'm saying, and he's not
Yeah,
really known for going after people for taking his music. But I would be slightly upset about that too if you took the melody line as well as the lyrics and you used them in a whole nother song and didn't give me writer's credit on it.
yeah.
So I have to talk to my guy Marquez, about that. I had no idea. This is the first I'm hearing that.
Yeah, I learned that recently, and I was like, "What?" Like, so I was watching this video, and they were doing like a collage of like different songs that people stole from some other artists. I'm like, they put Paul McCartney with TLC. I'm like, "Excuse me," and I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, so he's even acknowledged that he's seen it, he heard it, he talked about it." So I'm like, "Okay, well, I haven't heard anybody in this side talk about it until yesterday when they brought it up in the pop-up video." So I'm like, "Okay." I wonder how the producers came up with this. Like, did they remember it? Did they not think of it? It's like a memory that just happened. Cause that happens sometimes when you create a song. It's like sometimes when you create a song,
You
a
hear
melody comes
something,
up, it
yeah,
sounds
you
good,
hear
it blends,
something.
but you don't remember where it came from.
Right, right.
Yeah, so
But I've
yeah,
never heard that. I've never heard that.
I didn't even know it was a Paul McCartney
That's
song. I didn't even
they
know
have
that
to.
song.
They better thank their lucky stars because this song would have made Paul McCartney a lot of money. Not that he doesn't already have that from the gems he's already created,
Hmm.
but still, like, wow.
Yeah.
I have to hear that, man. I have to. I have to hear his song. I have to talk to Marquez, verify that for me, because I've never heard that until today.
I'm gonna look it up right now. Paul McCartney TLC Waterfalls, because I that's gonna kick me in the butt just not having that on record. TLC Paul McCartney. Oh, his song is called Waterfalls.
Get out of town. When was it written?
It was written in 1979. Um, and then yeah, it said when questioned on singles he wished were more successful. And Paul McCartney stated there are quite a few actually. Waterfalls I think is nice. He actually commented that TLC single Waterfalls carries elements of his song. Waterfalls is basically saying don't go loaded. No, don't, sorry, Waterfalls is basically saying don't go doing a load of dangerous stuff because I need you, and that's a kind of more mature thought for me than I would have been able to have done 20 years ago, because I just didn't realize that it's not all gone. It's not all going to be here forever. That's the kind of thing you realize when you pass 30. So that I think that's what he's saying about the song is that his song was actually talking about, not going to do a load of dangerous stuff, but more because I need you, not because you need to make sure you're good for yourself. So it's kind
Well,
of this,
I'm
yeah.
looking at the lyrics like right now.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "Don't go jumping waterfalls.
Mm-hmm.
Please keep to the lake. People who jump waterfalls sometimes can make mistakes."
It starts off similar, even melodically, it starts off similar, but
I have the
it's
video pulled up. Hold on. I have to
mm-hmm,
look at it.
mm-hmm. Hear it?
Please keep to the lane. Neon blue jump waterfalls sometimes can make me stay.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, that's very interesting. Now I gotta talk to my boy. I gotta talk to Marquez. I
Yeah.
gotta talk to my boy Marquez.
But it
Like,
doesn't mean they ain't a genius. They still pulled a masterpiece. A masterpiece.
no, no
Waterfall is
doubt,
still a
no doubt.
masterpiece.
But I can't help but wonder, like, did he hear the record? Was it something that kind of
Yeah.
phrase in his mind, and because the lyrics being so similar, like my whole thing was like, please think to the rivers and the
And the
lakes
links
like
that
you
you
used
used
to. I was
to.
like,
Yeah.
well, what made him come up with that line like that? Like, don't go chasing waterfalls and okay, look, you put me on a quest right now.
Listen, I would like to interview Marquez myself. I like him and Ray Murray. Ray
Right.
Murray, right? Yeah, him and Ray Murray, and I was gonna say Rico Wade. I've talked to him before, but I kind of wish I had all three of them. But either way, I'll take both of them regardless because they still contributed to beautiful works of art. So like, still, I would like to interview the both of them. And Jermaine Dupri, that's there on my wish list.
Okay.
But what was it? So yeah, so Waterfalls, that was an incredible song. Like Chili talked about how in the pop up video how the girls weren't being taken seriously until they dropped that song. When they did Creep, people loved it, thought it was sexy, it was edgy, different for them. And then next you got real like special, sexy, edgy, but on like more of that, and then you got Waterfalls, which completely takes all that away and makes
Hmm.
it more serious and more like we need you to look at this PTA video, this video of letting you know you need to be to protect yourself even when you are being sexy, even when
Right.
you are like trying to be cool. Protect yourself. Things can get crazy.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, I thought that was beautiful. Like it was just beautiful, and uh, so like during that era, did you have like any favorite performances? Like any songs you wish was a single yourself?
No, no, not really. I just looked at it as, again, just a work of art, and just enjoyed the visuals. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
wouldn't have. I would have picked the same records, pretty much. I'm glad that they gave "Digging on You" a live feel for the video. Um, yeah. So no, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have had anything. I wouldn't. I don't think I would have done anything any different
Favorite music video from that era?
from them.
Like it's Waterfall, right? That's your favorite video too from that album?
No, no, I will say Creep. Creep
Okay.
was the video because it just showed, like I said, their evolution. The visuals for that they were just fantastic. Even though F Gary Gray did the video for Waterfalls, I think that Matthew Rothstein
Mhm.
captured their transition from little girls to grown
Now, where were you when you found out about the fire?
women. In California,
Mm.
I was in LA, watching the news.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's where I was when I found out about the fire.
Mm. Like I know that was crazy when you realized that, like, wow, we were roommates. She got with this guy, Andre Rison, and
Yeah,
they moved in
because
together.
yeah, because because of their relationship, I knew about their relationship and everything. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how volatile it was. So, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I didn't know how volatile their relationship was. So yeah, yeah, I was in LA when I heard about the fire. Yep.
All right. I'm trying to think of what anything else this aired because I know they filed for bankruptcy. We already know about that. So like, uh, that was crazy. And that fucked up so much shit. Um, and then they did their contract negotiations. They got a better deal, but they re-signed to the label. Kind of wondered what would happen if they just went to So Def, but So Def had escaped, so it's kind of like conflict. You know what I'm saying? Um,
They really needed social death was a new situation at that point in time. They needed muscle behind them.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? Uh LaFace was great. Uh Skipping over Peppertone because at that particular point in time what they didn't realize is that they had signed management, production, and publishing with Pebbles. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that sealed their fate pretty much. And reduced their earning potential. And
yeah,
but listen, this is how the music business was done back in the day. Pebbles invested a shitload of money in the girls and um was looking to not just see the return on her investment, but make sure that it would be something that she can expand her company with, and put out
hmm
other artists, So that was that. So I don't blame anything. This was the music business in the 90s. The girls didn't have anything. They weren't putting up any of their own money. You know what I'm saying? So, you have to look at it from both standpoints.
yeah. It definitely was the business at the time, and a lot of other artists say. I remember Candy saying that too. Like Bobby Brown, I think he said that as well. Like that was just the nature of the time. A lot of people were getting offered contracts like this, and it's kind of sad even when Chili talked about it, when they talked about it at the Grammys, saying that they're broke. You know what I'm saying? It was like, there's like this happened like 40 years ago, like, 30 years ago. And it's like, and it's still a thing. So, it's, you
Well, I
know,
mean, you have to look at like, according to Crystal, they signed the contract without having a lawyer that represented them
hmm
uh, uh, look at the contract, look at the paperwork. You know what I'm saying? Like, once again, I wasn't there. This is just going by what other people are saying.
hmm
Um, and that's one of the reasons why Crystal was replaced in the group because she wasn't quick to sign the contract like the other girls were. And they tried to say, well, no, it's because of your talent that we're removing you from the group. The other girls were just excited, but they were, you think about it, you're 18, 19 years old, right? You're
hmm
getting picked up by limousines and driven out to this mansion in this secluded private residential area.
hmm
And you're working with some of the biggest people in the music business. You know what I'm saying? You're not thinking that anybody is out to screw you over. That's not in your thought process. They were all of age, so they didn't need parental guidance or parental signatures on the contract. They made an adult decision without looking through everything, anxious to get to the money. And that's what happens. And that's why you're on national TV at an award show and you're crying broke. You didn't
That's
read your
it.
contract. And the person that did read your contract didn't have your best interest at heart.
Exactly.
So you have to look at everything. Everybody has to look, oh, Pebbles is this, Pebbles is that. Pebbles is Pebbles. She's a businesswoman. You know what I'm saying? She's all about the business. She's not your friend or anything like that. She is a businesswoman and she made a business decision and you guys jumped into something without having the proper representation.
Yeah,
So yeah, you have to think at it. You have to look at it like that.
that is true. That is true. I remember Uncle Kyle was telling me about that. He's the one who did the clothing designing for the
Yeah.
photo shoot too. Him and TLC. Um, but yeah, I don't think there's anything else about this era I wanted to ask about.
Okay.
We can go to the next slide. Fan mail.
Fan mail. This is when
Yeah.
I started to come back into the picture with Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was working with a company called ASCAP, the American Society of Composers, Authors,
Mm-hmm.
and Publishers. And Lisa was, still trying to figure some things out. As you know, there was some controversy surrounding the launch of the album and things of that nature. So, um, we ended up face to face with each other. She had just built a home studio in her garage.
Mm-hmm.
I had a studio and I had some partners that I fell out
Mm-hmm.
with my studio. So Lisa was like, "Look, I have my studio. You can come over here with me, and let's build something together." And that's what we ended up trying to do.
All right. All right. So wait. So at one point was it before Famo came out or after Famo came out?
This was after Fan Mail started to drop because the
Mm-hmm.
first single from Fan Mail was
No scrubs.
no,
Oh, you talking about the promotional single "Silly Ho"?
it wasn't a promotional single. It was supposed to be the single. They made it into a promotional single because it didn't do well. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? And then when they dropped No Scrubs, and the funny thing about it, see, this is again, I was working at that time with Candy and Tiny. We were working on a project for them called Cat, Candy
Mm-hmm.
and Tiny. And I had them going and meeting with producers to
Okay.
create their sound.
I didn't know you were
When,
involved in that. Okay.
yes, yeah, I'm the one who came up with the name Cat. We did a photo shoot with them in cat makeup in a cage.
I saw that. I saw that. I loved it. I ain't gonna lie. I loved it.
Nobody else did. I'm glad you did. Um, we so I took them to meet with Shakespeare, and they started, doing songs with Shakespeare. And Candy called me when they had finished No Scrubs because it was supposed to be a cat song. And she sent me the song and I played it. I was like, yo, this is a good song. I don't know if it's good for y'all. I said, but it is a good song. And of course, Candy was like, yeah, it's our hit. It's our hit. I'm like, all right, cool. But unbeknownst to anybody, a gentleman by the name of Tony Mercedes got a hold of the song too, took the song to LA and said this would be great on not only will it be a great song on TLC, it would be a great song to showcase Chili on TLC. And next thing you know, we're negotiating splits and everything because of course Shakespeare was also a friend of mine. And so Shakespeare, Tiny, and Candy, we had negotiated the splits. And that's how I knew about No Scrubs going on TLC before anybody else did.
So there's so now I've learned not only did No Scrubs go to them, but I learned there was another song called "Label It." Did you ever hear about that one that Cat did?
No, uh-uh.
Okay, because it was someone, I think someone found it on, yeah, we found it on ASCAP, and it said the same, had the same writing credits as No Scrubs with Lisa and Marshall, but whatever. um yeah, so Lisa and Marshall, but also Shakespeare and Candy and Tiny, it's the same writing credits and the same producer. So I was like, I guess they
And it
did
was called Label It, you said?
label it. I wasn't sure if you, since you worked with them, I wasn't sure if you heard the demo of the
Mm-mm.
song, or if there was a demo or anything.
No, I don't even recall hearing anything like that. I'm not saying that I didn't hear it because Candy played me several records
Mm-hmm.
that they had did with, but they didn't do it with um,
Mm-hmm.
with Lisa. Lisa wasn't involved because at this point we were only focused on Cat.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so basically you came back in the picture when Silly Ho was dropped, and how did you feel about Silly Ho?
I thought it was a catchy tune. I remember, being on the road driving in Atlanta and hearing it on the radio for the first time. I thought it was a crazy bouncy tune. But again, it was a song that sounded like a continuation of Crazy Sexy Cool rather than an elevation to
Mm,
FanMail. You know what I'm saying? And this business is all about elevation. If you look at the career of Outkast, you see each album that they did, from Southern Playalistic to AT Aliens to Aquemini to Stink on You. Each album, and all the way up to Speaker Box Love Below, it was an elevation. It was a transformation. And you could see that. You know what I'm saying? If it hadn't been for those transformations or elevations, Outkast probably would have stagnated and just become another group that's just here in Atlanta.
right.
TLC did the same thing trajectory wise, but the folks behind TLC had the good sense to know that, okay, this is a good record. This is a good record, but it's not taking them up. It's not a trajectory record. It's a record that's on par with where we left off with Crazy Sexy Cool. And we need to do something a little different. Here comes No Scrubs.
Mm,
That once again highlighted Chili's voice. And that was different because, even though it's been highlighted before, not on any records that were taken seriously as a major single, especially a launching single for a project. So introducing a different vocal from the group was a great major step for the right direction.
okay. No, that is true because you have to reinvent yourself. You like it's very crucial. Some artists like not having to do that. That's an artistic choice. Also a business choice as well. If you choose not to want to reinvent yourself, we get it. It doesn't always have that same level of excitement. I
Right,
love a reinvention. Love me a reinvention. Love
right.
me a reinvention.
Because it gives you a glimpse into something new, the possibilities. If an
Mhm.
artist stays stagnant and doing what there are very few artists that can do that and be successful with it. The reason why Sade was so successful with her career is because she released an album every 5, 6, 7 years. By the time she released another album, you're craving for that sound. You understand what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, oh, Sade dropped a new record. Oh, it's all great. It's all gravy. She didn't have to sound any different. We love the way she sounds, but she didn't flood the airwaves with new music with that same sound. She waited several years before she dropped another album. I feel like that's the reason why Sade was so successful with her career sounding the same way, because she left for a minute and left you craving it. When we're dropping records every 2, 3 years, you got to show some sort of elevation with your part. You got to give the audience something different because that's what they're looking for. Well, that's what they were looking for back then. Now you got to drop a single every month, every 2 weeks, uh, in this day
Mhm.
and age, in order to stay relevant with people.
I don't like it. I really don't like it. I'm an artist myself. I don't like it. I don't like it and I don't do that. I don't do it because that's not my brand. That's not how I operate. That's not what I choose to do. And
Right,
it's like you suffer the repercussions at the mercy of the algorithm because you're not as consistent as you should be. And
right.
it's like what are you the new record label algorithm? Are you the new record label? Like no. So I don't like it, but I'm glad that. But it's funny because the whole thing started. This whole streaming business started around the time FanMail was being created. So you got Napster, you got MP3.com. Artists like TLC was trying to get early on the wave, and they got on MP3.com and gave them "I Need That" and dropped that as a promo single too. Um, just to create some more buzz. And to me, I think it was somewhat of a good idea at the time, but it's like long term, it's like streaming really did do a number on the music industry because it's like physical sales is just not the same anymore. It's
Right,
not the same. You know what I'm saying? How an artist makes money is just not the same anymore. It's like the audience are getting more, are way more now than the artist is actually getting. Besides maybe a good engagement, a good following, and maybe a purchase here and there. So it's like Lisa, she just knew that at the time, like we need to make some money. You know what I'm saying? So
right,
like that was part of how their issues is because like y'all just filed for bankruptcy. You know what I'm saying? It's like let's not go on that hold again. So I
right,
get why she was like fighting with them during that time because it was like we need to make DVDs. We need to make more merchandise. We need to sell these music videos that we're spending millions of dollars on. So I seen what she was talking about. Like, you ever had like during that time, you ever had any like conversations before the tour, like about this, um, like the way things were going at the time? Like, she ever like vented to you?
No, well, yeah, we did have, yeah, yeah, she did.
Okay,
We had our private moments,
yeah,
where she would vent and she would express how she felt about certain situations. And, some things I was able to help her see. And then there were some things that she was just adamant about. You know what I'm saying? And, it's Lisa never wanted to leave the situation. She understood the assignment to where it's like, yo, this is my job. At the end of the day, this is my job. Like, this is how I make my money. I go to work
Mhm.
with these girls. You know what I'm saying? So I may feel a certain kind of way for a certain length of time, but that doesn't mean that I'm quitting my job. And that's what a lot of people try to fuel the fire and perpetuate this and that between the three of them. You know what I'm saying? But it's like Lisa never ever said that she wanted to walk away from TLC. Even though she had her own ambitions, her own dreams, and things of that nature.
Yeah,
It didn't. Those dreams and ambitions didn't require her to leave TLC.
yeah. But when it comes to the album itself, how did you like when you saw the aesthetic of the album, like the whole futuristic look? You see the chrome, the silver painted on them. Like how did you feel about when you saw it? Like wow, this like now this reinvention. Like how did you feel about this reinvention?
Again, being that a lot of it was Lisa.
Mm,
The fan mail idea was her idea, and everything like that. I was like, okay, it's another stroke of genius. You know what I'm saying? I believe D.L. Warfield was responsible for the artwork. I believe. I'm
okay,
not sure. Don't quote me on that.
it's okay.
Um,
I don't
but
remember.
yeah, but so it's always about a team. At the end of the day, it's always about a team. It's not ever about the one person. Trying to bring this thing into realization. It's always about a team. But Lisa had the infrastructure in her mind as to what she wanted to do and how she wanted to thank her fans for the success of the first two albums.
Yeah, because she did a real good job conceptually. Um, so now when you heard the album, how did you feel?
Different. I This wasn't one where I could just sit back and listen to it over and over again.
Mm,
Wasn't one of was definitely wasn't my favorite TLC album.
same.
Um, it's just like, okay, good job. I felt that I'm Pretty was, I think that they handled that very well. Um, Dallas turning one of Tion's songs, one of her poems into a song, um, reminded me of Rick Rubin turning the lead singer of the Chili Peppers song into Under the Bridge into a massive hit. You know, um, this is
Mhm.
those things worked. You know what I'm saying? But if you ask me about any songs of the album, I probably, because I haven't listened to it in a long time. I probably couldn't have named another record on that album.
Honestly, because to me, I stopped the album after Shout. After Shout is like it starts to tone down. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a fan of the last half of the album. Really, really, I love Communication Lewd. I'm fine with Lovesick. Their Lie is cool. I just don't care about some of the other songs. Like Come On Down. Okay, I like Come On Down. Okay, sure, but um, I see what Lisa was talking about, where she said this is not her favorite, and she was not gonna lie and say this was her favorite album, even when it just came out. Because I get business wise, you want to get people on board as much as possible to get the album to increase sales. Um, and if you are disengaged from the project, the audience will be disengaged from you too, potentially. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But sometimes that can create more interest. This artist is saying they didn't like the album. Let me see what they're talking about. In order for them to
Mm-hmm.
figure out, they got to buy the album. So it's like either way, it's gonna like it could add on to sales. It's a dicey thing, but hey, an artist being authentic and true about how they felt, it creates more debate, creates more
Right.
conversation. Like,
And
oh
and
shit, yeah.
it still did well. Where are we at? I know you know the RIAA numbers. 7 million.
I think so. Because
You
here's the
don't
thing.
have. I thought you would have that album
No. Here's the
in
thing.
hand.
You know, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The last certification was probably 7 million, but the problem is that it has not been recertified since 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So T-Boz has been saying, and some other people has been saying, it's actually past 10 million now. It just
Well,
hasn't been recertified.
if it hasn't been recertified, that might be worldwide. That
Oh,
might be
no,
the case worldwide.
no, it already is over 10 million worldwide. It's just apparently in the States now is over 10 million, but it has not been recertified, so we don't know in the US if it sold 10 million alone in the US.
Right.
That's what we don't know yet.
Well, I mean, listen, like if there's no record of it being recertified in the States, that means it hasn't been recertified. Means
Yeah.
nobody's really buying that album.
I don't know. I don't
Like
know.
those people don't, those albums just don't magically sell. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's got to be out there buying them. You know what I'm saying? But I think the last I heard, it ended up at 7 million in the
Yeah.
States.
Yeah. That's probably where it's at, right? I'm not sure because I thought No Scrubs would be dominant at this point, and when they recertified it, I was like, wait, it's closer, but it's not there, and I'm
Hmm.
shocked. But yeah. So like when you first heard TLC No Scrubs, how did you feel?
Well, the funny thing about it is, like, I was already familiar with the song.
Mm-hmm.
I was already, just with different vocals on it. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So to see them do it, and again, the first video again captured growth within the group itself.
Yes.
Um, very futuristic, like the album cover. You know what I'm saying? So I was again proud. I was like, okay, they stepping it up with each new release from different albums. They at least the first video they step it up completely, which
Mhm.
um, which they do very well. Which they've always managed to do all the way up into 3D.
Yeah. That was how I got into TLC. That's how I found out about TLC in general. I was now I'm very I'm listen, I was 6 years old when the song came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I woke up in the morning, I was yawning, I was like, okay, it's a Saturday morning, no school. I turned on the TV, I found out my siblings, they're older, much older than me. So they're like, then they showed up, they was all into hip hop and R&B, BET, MTV, all of it, they were all into hip hop. And when the TV came on, it was on MTV. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna change it. But all of a sudden I just see, because a kid, I loved video games, loved the animation, loved it. And I seen this dun 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 dun, dun 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 dun. The whole thing comes up, and I was just like, big eyed, you know what I'm saying? So that's how they got me locked in at that point. I was like, oh, I didn't even know anything about this group. I'd never seen them before until that video. And
Hmm.
this is phenomenal. This is incredible. And then Lisa's rap. I was like, this is something I could show to everyone.
Right.
Everyone. Everyone. Because how could you not like it? And I found out, a lot of men don't like it. And the men don't like the song. And I was just like, you know what? Oh well, only the scrubs are mad. So so I love that song. And you said I'm pretty. It made you think of a like what did it make you think of again? I'm pretty.
No, I was just saying that, I feel like Dallas did a great job, turning one of
Yes.
Tion's poems into song. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how I felt about it. Uh, and it reminded me of a Red Hot Chili Peppers song called "Under the Bridge,"
Mm.
which was also a poem that the lead singer had written, and Rick Rubin had turned it into a song. So that's pretty much what it reminded me of.
All right, I'll move on to the next slide. 3D.
3D.
So the anniversary of 3D also passed as well. So it's been 22 years since the 3D album came out. I already know, y'all were mourning and everything. Y'all, been very devastated about her loss. So I think you said at the last symposium, you still haven't heard this album, right?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't heard that. But I was when I said that on the symposium, I was talking about
Supernova.
Supernova. Yeah, that I
Okay,
tried to find because Stephanie Dayton hit me up after that symposium and said, "Yeah, you really need to listen to that project." And I was like,
yeah,
"Okay." So I was trying to find it to stream it, and I couldn't find it.
it's not out yet, but we'll get to Supernova. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But for 3D, so you have heard that album?
No, I haven't. I
Okay.
heard the only out records I know is the single "Girls Are Talking."
What did you think of that?
Eh, it was again, like I said, it didn't show growth. It felt like a continuation of one of the early albums.
It was giving Silly Ho, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So with 3D, the old aesthetic and everything. So, um, hmm. So I'm trying to figure out. So, like, what did you think of the cover?
I whatever cap that they have on Chili's head, I really wasn't feeling. I don't know. It just it just this whole project didn't resonate with me at all. I think it was all over the place. I think it was a mishmash of producers. By this time, they had the working relationship with Dallas was strained, and I think they were out working with other producers. And see, this is what happens when you have. I'm even going through this right now with Peach Three, when you have a bunch of different producers trying to, instead of learning about the group and writing songs specifically for the group, the group is picking songs that are already written that weren't necessarily written for them and recording the records. And when you do that, I feel like you lose your identity as an
Hmm.
artist,
You can. Depending
So
on how, yeah.
yeah, so I felt like, okay, that coupled with the fact that their creative force was no longer with them, I think tripled them in a way that they didn't or they couldn't have imagined. And so the record went on to do whatever it did, but clearly it wasn't a fan favorite. And by that time, they were starting to slide down a very slippery
Mhm.
slope.
Fun fact, I will say, 3D is their fastest album to go platinum. Um,
Okay.
it sold 1 million in 1 month.
Okay.
That's the fastest. None of the other albums ever sold 1 million a month. Not even Greatest Sexy Cool.
I did not
Um,
know that. I'm learning that today.
Yep. But still, there is a slice. The same reaction you gave fan mail is the same reaction 3D gets from a lot of fans. Mostly the OG fans. I feel like a lot of his fans that came out like that now are more younger have more of an appreciation for this album. Um, there's some people that actually did come out like there were active fans during the time have spun the block on the album and said, you know what, I actually like this album more than I did before. So
Hmm.
like some lives have been changing, but some people are still there, and I get it. So now I know you were around Lisa with Supernova, and Supernova was during the process of this album. So like, did you ever go to the studio with them during this time of 3D?
Yes, I was with Lisa in LA, and
Hmm.
when they were in the studio recording some of the songs for 3D, yes, before she passed.
Which songs do you remember?
I do not remember anything because they were going. I'm not a studio head. I hated
Okay.
going to the studio. I would never go in the actual studio while they were recording. I'd be sitting in a lounge somewhere watching TV. So
Okay.
I couldn't tell you to save my life which songs they were actually recording.
Any favorite memories during that moment?
At that point, Lisa and I were just enjoying our relationship renewed and the things that we were doing
Hmm.
with that particular at that particular moment in time, but which 3D was part of that, but also the ideas that she was having for Supernova, for her Chef Die project, and things of that nature were things that we were really focusing on much more than 3D. So yeah, that whole era, that 3D era, because FanMail had already been recorded and released. The whole making of 3D, um, after the tour and stuff like that, was a good time for Lisa, I would say.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the next slide. I
Yeah,
remember you huh?
I said, yeah.
I remember you dropped the picture on the left. Like, do you remember that moment?
I do not. I don't. I don't remember exactly when that moment was. I'm trying to even remember if I even took that picture. I knew I had it, but
Okay.
I don't remember when that was.
Definitely during the time y'all were roommates.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, how about the picture on the right?
No, no, I'm not sure who's in that picture.
So apparently that's Lisa in the middle with the blue hat, and then you got Drip Drop in the yellow, and
And
Genesis
and, and
Qua at the
Jenna
bottom,
Saquon, yeah,
and
but
DJ
I'm not,
Dolomites on the right.
and I'm not. Oh, damn it, was I taking the freaking picture? I'm not in that picture.
I think you were like, was this in your apartment?
It looks like our apartment because the doorway to your the little doorway, I believe is the kitchen, and they're standing in the living room. So that's a very old picture. That was our first apartment on Windy Hill,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So with that picture, it's very well. I don't know if I'm in it because I can't see it that well. Am I in this picture? I
I
have to
don't
go
think
back.
so. I'm trying to figure out who else is in there because I know that's Genesis Qua at the bottom. I know Joe Droppins in the yellow, Lisa's in the middle, DJ Dolomites is on the right. I don't know who the girl is in the red, and I don't know who the guy is in the white on right behind DJ Dolomites. I don't know who they are.
Okay, but who's standing off in that doorway?
I think that's one of the drip drop guys because they all
Okay.
got this yellow coat on.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Um, all
I
right,
I may have taken that picture. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that though.
okay, all right. So the next slide, fan mail tour.
Yes.
Do you remember when you first saw, you found out about the tour and like how did get in backstage? Like, did you just hear about it, or did Lisa invite you, or something
No.
like
Yeah.
that?
No. That's well. Lisa and I we were back together at that point, and then I just want to clarify. When I say back together, we were never dating. We were always
Oh
business
yeah.
partners, but we were friends.
Yes.
So yeah, I was there in support of Lisa. That is a picture that we took with Dallas Austin backstage at the Atlanta show when they got presented with something from the mayor, Bill. I can't remember the last name of the mayor at that time. Was presenting them something. LA Reid was
Hmm.
there, and so forth and so on. So yeah, that was backstage during that particular point in time. So I went to a number of those shows in support of Lisa. But again, I also had a job working with ASCAP, so I couldn't stay out on the road with them.
You know what? Now I'm kicking myself in the head because why did I include them pictures of y'all at the ASCAP press conferences? Um, in 2000. Those after the tour. I remember you. There was some pictures of y'all at the ASCAP press conference. Let me see. I have my thumb drive. Um, I can tussle with this, but I do have pictures of y'all at the ASCAP press conference before she showed up with Sean Newman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a picture of y'all of you, her, and and not Candy, you, her, and Tiny, at the
Oh,
press
that was, you
conference.
know what, that was it wasn't a press conference. It was it was a panel that I was doing for a music convention that was in
Mhm.
town, the Atlantis Music Convention. It was a panel, and I had her and Tiny on that panel. Again, that's when we were working together. And of course, I was working with ASCAP. So I had her on the panel. I had her on the panel with Tiny and a few other songwriters. Yeah, she was on a songwriting panel with those people. That's what that was. She had a scarf on her head, right?
Yeah, she did. She did. I'm trying to find the folder right now because I have the picture of her, but it was another one as well where she's wearing a red wig and a blue outfit.
That was a party that we did for Hanson. I don't know if you remember that group Hanson.
They're in the pictures. There's some of the pictures with
Oh
y'all.
yeah, exactly, exactly. They were performing at the Tabernacle here in Atlanta, and I did a party for them. And once again, I had my partner come to the party. And the party was right upstairs from the venue that they were performing in. And so we did the function, and then they went downstairs and performed.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Because I meant to put that in here and I didn't, and I was like, but I'm glad I brought it up and I'm glad you clarified because we were told there were two different press conferences for the ASCAP Awards before it
No,
happened, and those weren't even a part of it.
no, that wasn't. And really, we didn't do any ASCAP press conferences. The only press conferences that we did were or that she did were for the MOBO Awards that we did in Europe.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
All right. So, but favorite for performance during the family tour? Any memories you want to like bring up?
Her solo performance when she was juggling and playing the piano when she was showing off her skills.
Hmm. That was amazing.
You know, that was, everything else, was just them singing and dancing. But when she went off and she started juggling and she got behind the piano and started playing the classical music and stuff like that, that was my favorite. And I know it's a little biased, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, we are talking about Lisa, number one. Number two, shit, it was my favorite time at the concert. It is what it is.
All right. So, and how did you feel about the challenge?
The what?
The challenge.
What challenge?
She challenged the girls.
Oh, the album challenge.
Hmm.
Listen, I thought you see how well Speaker Box and the Love Below did, right? That record
Yes.
sold
Yes. We are
50
talking about that
million.
last night again.
You know what I'm saying? Like people took it as a dig. It was actually a brilliant marketing strategy. Let the
Yes, it
three of
was.
them do a solo record and put that would have been three albums combined into one. You understand what I'm saying? It would have been a huge seller because see, in reality, um, Speakerbox Love Below, that only sold 5 million records. The reason why it's certified diamond is because it was a two-album collection. So, that's why it's considered, okay, 10 million. You know what I'm saying? So imagine if a three-album set was put out on TLC. You know what I'm saying? People would have just bought it because of the fact that Lisa called it a challenge. You understand what I'm saying? So they
I
would
get it. No,
be
I get it.
comparing, oh, who did what, you know what I'm saying? Listen, they didn't care about that shit. It was a marketing strategy. It was a marketing ploy. And if anybody had any sense at that point in time, instead of getting attitudes or getting gruff about it, oh hell, let's do it and see what happens.
You know what's funny? She said it herself. She said, I don't care if they actually do or don't take it, because if they don't take it, it proves my point that I make multi-million dollar ideas and they won't take it. No matter if it's good or bad, they won't take it.
Right.
So she proved her point with that one. She proved her point. And I was just like, and I get why they denied it because of the tone of it all, but at the same time, y'all kind of asked for it because y'all went on here talking about her like that.
But
But
see, the bottom, even with that being said, right,
mhm.
the tone was perfect. It was a perfect tone because it got people amped up. People were amped up. Oh yeah, the challenge, the challenge. You know what I'm saying? And whether she meant that shit or not, people were gonna go out and actually buy the record just because it was a challenge. And
Yeah.
it meant more money for the girls in the long run.
And you know what's funny? So this came to my mind. I was thinking, I was like, wouldn't it have been great if they did the challenge and you and Lisa still went through with Wish Records? They dropped the challenge, they get out their contract, and they went straight to Wish Records.
Hey, you
Y'all was
know,
cooking with grease and they was
you know,
that part of the idea that she had, or was that
no, that's totally new. I doubt that the Eagles would have allowed them to sign to Wish Records. You know what I'm saying?
okay?
It would have been a dope idea, but I doubt
Hmm.
if their Eagles would have allowed them to sign to Wish Records. But I mean, folks have, they in hindsight, they're probably looking at it going, damn, this, that, and third, especially seeing how successful Speaker Box and Love Below done. And that was, that wasn't meant to be an Outcast album. They were actually working on individual albums. It was just decided that the albums be put together. And it was a brilliant move.
Yes, it was, and I feel like a lot of groups should follow that method. You know what I'm saying? It's like get your solo kinks out. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't gonna worry about having to drop it individually and delaying the process of when it comes to the next project because
Right.
it'll technically already be here, and you can actually invest in it the next go round. Because Fan Mail Tour is honestly a blueprint for a group tour, a
Mm-hmm.
group tour that especially when they have it in them to have a solo career and they could produce a body work on their own or at least give a solo performance on their own and keep your attention. I
Right.
really feel like the Fan Mail Tour is a blueprint for a group tour, especially if all members are capable of being on the stage on their own. It's a blueprint.
Yeah,
Um, but we can go to the next slide if you're ready.
I'm ready. This was at an event that Tupac's mom was doing. The Rose That Grew from Concrete.
Yep.
Um, we're there with Estero, who was a famous Canadian singer.
I think so.
And she was Lisa and her were working on something together. But this
The
was,
Universal Quest.
huh?
The Universal Quest, which is my favorite Lisa solo song.
Right.
It's amazing.
So yeah, that was the moment. You see, where you see Sean Newman, you see the rest of the fam, I believe, what's the name? Tupac's mom is in the top pick.
Yep, Afeni right there.
Feeney, yes. And then the bottom pick is me, Estero, and Lisa.
Yeah. I think that was beautiful. It's like this is the closest we got to anything of a Tupac and Lisa picture. Cause like, oh, there's a picture of her in set, but this is a little different.
Right.
Um, like, and then Sean, like Sean was so understanding of Lisa and Tupac. Like he wasn't even jealous. The man was just like, I don't care. I know you love that man. I love that man too because I'm a big fan. And
Right.
it's just, I love that. I love that. Afeni loved Lisa. And then Estero was just welcome. There's a scene with open arms, like, because I've looked it up. She is Canadian. She is Canadian, so you are right. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So, and I can like, how was that moment? Like, how like, do you have any memories, any favorite moments?
No, no famous moments. It was just a really good function. It was a good situation. We were celebrating a rose that grew from concrete. And just being in that moment again, that time with Lisa in my life, I was going through the best time period in my life. I love my job at ASCAP. And then being reunited, and then working with Lisa and her exposing me to so much because she was so famous at the time. When we first started, she wasn't famous. She wasn't that famous. When we first got together during the Ooh on the TLC tip days, she was just getting started. By now, FanMail had dropped and all of that. They had already done a world tour. She was internationally known. She had just did the record with
No, say
Mel C uh, overseas. And yeah, like she was really, really out there, really super famous, and she was exposing me to all of that. She was exposing me to all of that.
that's
So it was a
beautiful.
great time.
So you ready for the next slide?
Absolutely.
When missing, here we are.
What is that? Oh yeah, the missing. What's the one on the left though?
So, from my understanding, this is the picture of Sean and Lisa when they went to Honduras, potentially when they went missing,
Okay,
because they were stopping, taking pictures, and doing autographs and stuff like that while she's missing. It was
right.
just this is the best. I love it.
See, I've never seen that pic.
It's
I've
rare.
never
It's a
seen.
very rare picture. I don't know. I don't know. This is what someone told me. I'm not sure if it's 100%, but I believe it. I believe it.
But I mean, like that was that was a crazy time for me because again, it was a brilliant idea. When Lisa brought the idea to me, and we're prepping to go um
MOBO
to
Awards.
Europe for the promotion for the press conference. It
Yeah.
wasn't the MOBO Awards; it was the press conference. And Lisa was like, "Look, this is what I'm going to do. Me and Sean are just going to take off." And I was like, "What?" They were supposed to head to the airport that morning, and she said, "We're going to be missing." I'm like, "What? What?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? You got a flight. You were supposed to be on a plane. We're gonna go missing." And they drove off, and the news people came to our house. I was on a couple of the extra, oh, Lisa's missing, and you know what I'm saying. I was like, oh, she's gone. I don't, she needs to call home, and all of that.
And it,
So the whole thing for me, it was fun because I knew that Lisa was safe. I understood that the fans felt the kind of way about it. I understood that her group members felt a certain kind of way about it,
yeah,
especially in light of what happened to Lisa later on. Um, so I understood all of that. But it was such a brilliant marketing plan. Excuse me. It's such a brilliant marketing plan. Like the MOBO Awards which never got any light over here in the States before, had gotten a whole lot of light because that was the main story, that Lisa was on her way to do promotions or press conference for the MOBO Awards. Up until that point, very few people knew what the MOBO Awards were. Can you even tell me what the acronym stands for? You don't know, do you?
My
Don't look
bad. My
it up.
bad.
Don't
My
look it
bad.
up.
I think the B stands for Black, but I don't remember everything else.
It's music of
Music.
Black origin.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I knew something like the B stands for Black. I know, and the M, it has to stand for music. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what it that's but see, nobody knew that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know what the MOBO Awards were, and I was in the industry. You know what I'm saying? So it brought a lot of light to the MOBO Awards. It was a big celebration when we finally did go there on my birthday. That happened on October 4th, 2000, which was my birthday, and I got incredibly drunk. I turned 35 years old that night.
We gonna get to
Everybody
that.
was buying me drinks, and I got incredibly drunk before we were supposed to jump on a plane to head back to the USA.
We're gonna get back. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that because
Okay.
I got a slide. I got a slide for it. But when she went missing, it's like it was a moment. That was her and Sean going missing was a moment, and it gets so confusing because it's like I get reasons why they decided to do it. Because Sean was talking about how they were tired of everything and everything. You know what I'm saying? They were just like want to just have a getaway. So like
Right.
it developed into this big thing,
And they
and
chronicleize it in the last days of Left Eye. I'm sure you saw that.
mm-hmm.
They chronicleize the whole thing with them in the jungle, swinging from trees, jumping on rocks, taking their clothes off, and showing that little flyer on the ground. They put together a whole. That's why when I was asked if they would work in a social media world, hell yes, they would work. That's all Lisa was doing, was having that camera out and filming everything. You know what I'm saying? Even to the point where they filmed the conversation with me that's in the last days of Left Eye, me on the phone, and them, me giving them the update of how everybody's looking for them at that time. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, wow, this is it's amazing. We didn't take into certain situations, and I will admit this, we didn't take certain factors into consideration when doing that. But it wasn't meant to hurt anybody or throw anybody off. We did it as a tool to help something that we were looking at doing. So that's it.
Yeah, like she talked about she didn't think the fans would take it so hard. And I like the fact that she decided, I'm gonna just, we're gonna have fun with this. I'm gonna take pictures with fans, sign autographs, talk about how much I love them and everything while on this mission. And, they made it a fan competition. That's creative. That's very creative. Especially in a situation like this, that is very creative.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for the next slide?
I'm ready.
Supernova. Here we are.
Supernova. Now these
So
pictures, a lot of the prep work for Supernova happened when, and a lot of people don't know this. You're probably going to be the first. This might be the first uh, time I even spoke of this. Stephanie knew this. Stephanie Dayton, because I actually hired Stephanie to be Lisa's personal assistant for this whole situation. But again,
thank you, by the
right?
way. Thank you.
Oh no, Stephanie was the bomb. Stephanie is the bomb. She took very good care of Lisa. She was what Lisa needed in her life. But there were other elements that were surrounding Lisa that I just didn't approve of. And unfortunately, right before she passed, we fell out again. And so a lot of this stuff, this photo shoot right here, I was not a part of. A lot of this stuff happened, the video happened and all of that, like right after we fell out. and right before she passed.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Stephanie. Definitely give it a chance. Because the thing is that Supernova is not on all platforms yet, per the family. Apparently, they're trying to check off some boxes and make sure everything is fine before they decide to do it. But it's been a very long time. A lot of fans have took upon themselves to find different ways to release it. Right now, it's on YouTube. I've made my own playlist of all the songs in the proper in order, plus some bonus tracks to people that that came out. So I could send you the playlist I have so you can finally hear it.
That would be nice. I would definitely listen to that. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Um, but yeah, so I this is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's in my top two. It juggles between this and Renaissance by Beyonce because it's so experimental and it's daring, it's challenging, and Renaissance didn't challenge me to think, it challenged me more to like feel.
Hmm.
Supernova challenged me to not only feel, but to really be critical and think and be more intentional and learn of the intentions of what's going on around you, whether it's physical, spiritual, mental, emotional. Like she's like telling you to lock in, understand what's going on, and not only that, but realize you are going to be okay no matter what the situation is. She goes through a range of different topics, range of
Right.
different genres, range of different flows, and it's I think it was amazing and she was on to something. Like when you brought up the Stan Lee thing, it made more perfect sense of what she was doing. She's creating the Supernova album, but also the comic book to help aid in it. And then you got the Chef Eye. It's like there was a lot of different elements that are coming in to help bring this album and introduce you to the wonderful world of Left Eye.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And then she had the chessboard. She had a chessboard she was working on that was Eyenetics. I saw it again recently, but and it finally clicked that there. I think we had that symposium. You and Stephanie was saying that stuff. It clicked. I'm like, okay, so she really was building a world, a actual world of Supernova, because the chessboard is actual elements from the website. So it's like, so you were even tapping into this world. You were making you about to make the open book. You know, she was doing that. She was doing Supernova. She was doing all this other stuff. Even a video game. Like she was really trying to like get things going and develop a lot of ideas. And I'm just like, we really were about to step into the wonderful world of Left Eye. However, the powers may be, let things be the way they are. And this is where we are now. Unfortunately, I really wish things worked out the way she was looking for.
I think that she was way before her time. I just feel like, like she said, energy doesn't die, it just transform. I just
Yeah.
felt like it was time for her to transform.
Yeah.
That's how I feel because yeah, she was doing a lot. And I think that she would have been the queen of media right now had she
Mm,
survived. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
it's just one of those things. It's like, okay, you've done enough. You've done enough. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you sit back and you wonder when is that going to time? And that's what encourages me, because it's like, as long as I'm here and I'm still helping people, I'm still bringing people across into this crazy world of entertainment like Peach 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the job that I was supposed to be doing. And like I always say that, she's that angel that's on my shoulder. Like, this is, and I'm in my bedroom now. I don't know if you can see that. You see that Calvin Klein picture?
Oh.
That's an original print from her Calvin Klein photo shoot that was a billboard in New York and in LA.
Do you have any like memories from that? Like her giving you that? Like,
Oh, I took that. So I picked up the print and I was like, yo, I said, I'm taking this. She said, I take it. I said, all right. And I went out and got the frame. Got the frame.
uh,
That's an original print too, from the Calvin Klein ad. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I have things. I have a Supernova poster that Babyface Bud gave me commemorating her life and the Supernova life on my wall. I have the plaque, the Mel C plaque from the UK. The only plaque that I ever gotten from the UK is hanging up on my wall. And then my TLC plaques and my poster that she signed for me is hanging up in the studio. So I have a lot of memories, and then all of these pictures that you have here, man. You know, this is it chronicalizes my life with this young lady. You know, and how she meant, really, how she meant the world to me. She changed my life.
We can get to the next slide. I'm a because I know we got a lot. We got like 8 more slides, and then we can go to the next few parts. So this one.
That is at an ASCAP function. That is Maxwell, as you know.
Hmm.
Me and Lisa, as you can see, I think we're dressed alike.
It kind of does look like. I didn't even think that.
Yeah, but yeah, we Maxwell was also a very big TLC fan, and of course we were a fan of his, so we
Mm.
had to take this picture.
All right, all right. This one, the
That
last.
was the proclamation that was presented to Lisa by the mayor. As you can see, the picture within that frame was taken the same day that Dallas, me, and Lisa picture was taken. I
Yep.
took the picture. I took my backstage pass. That was an all access pass. I took my tickets to the show and I framed it for her. I took everything and framed it for her and gave it to her. This was a photo shoot that she was at. I showed up to
Hmm.
the photo shoot with that frame, and I gave it to her. You know, just hey, this is what you mean to me, because she would have things and just like even her certificate, her Grammy certificates. I went and got all of those things framed because they would just be laying around the house. So I would go and get them professionally framed, and they still are hanging in the house to this day. You know what I'm saying? This particular thing is still hanging. I was about to say it got destroyed. It did get destroyed. I gave her a Tupac collage that I had professionally framed with all of Tupac's early albums. And she saw it was mine. It was hanging up on the wall. She always loved it, so I gave it to her. But Andre Rison destroyed that. I went over and saw it and smashed to pieces one day. You know what I'm saying? But
Not surprised.
that is from a photo shoot, and that frame is a gift that I gave her. That's still hanging up at her house to this day.
You know, it's funny. This may have been the only time she smiled during the shoot. Because even the photographer kept saying that she would not smile at all. She just would not smile. And, this was her last photo shoot with TLC. This was her last photo shoot.
Hmm.
Um, so you were there. It's like a full circle moment in a sense when you think about it, because you were there at the last photo shoot.
I
And
don't
they were
even remember all of that, but I guess if you say so.
This is what, from my understanding, this was their last photo shoot. They didn't do any other photo shoots after this. Like, this was
Hmm.
the last photo shoot. And they were just not on the good same page with Lisa. Like, well, Chili wasn't. Like, T-Boz was like, whatever, I'm pregnant, hee hee. And then, Chili was like, I'm still mad at her. And then Lisa's like, whatever, girl.
Yeah,
Um,
you got to remember, like, Chili was the last addition to the group, and before she joined, it was always just and after Crystal was removed from the group, it was always just the two of them. And I remember I was working at a record company called Ichiban Records, and they came up to my job and they were selling Christmas ornaments that they had painted black. They get these white Christmas ornaments and paint them black and was selling them. You know what I'm saying? So they came out and said, oh, look at all of this stuff. I was like, y'all are crazy. I remember that. That's one of my fond memories of the two of them together. They bonded so very well together without Chili. Chili was thrown into the situation and still was a good situation to add to the piece. But you know, it was always Lisa because I met Lisa and Tion the same night. They both auditioned for me the same night, and they became a group that night. So, you know, it was always about the two of them, especially when Crystal was out of the picture.
Yeah, they had this like tight bond. It was like they could get through things even faster.
Right.
Like, yeah, but everything happens for a reason, and they look beautiful in this picture. I love this picture. It's beautiful. They look good. Love the outfits, their hair, makeup. They just look great, and I love it. We can go to the next slide when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. That was our wish recording artist, Luis Angel
Hmm.
Cartagena. That was at our meeting with L.A. Reid, I think, with Def Jam. It was either Def Jam or Arista. We went up to the office.
Hmm.
So we were shopping Lewis at that point in time. That was our Latino artist.
So what happened with him? Because we haven't heard anything from this man. We ain't heard a song, no performance, no nothing.
We had records that I had some producers do on him that we were playing for folks. But see, the this was at the very beginning of the young Latin boom. This was in 2000, 2001, maybe.
2000,
And
2000.
it wasn't big, nobody realized that he was like 14, 15 years old, maybe 16. You know what I'm saying? Good
He look
looking kid.
wrong. He look
Uh,
wrong.
what's that?
He look wrong.
No, he's 16. He was short though. He was short, but he was like 16 years old.
Yeah.
Um, and but nobody realized what it was. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
again, I'll take some credit for that. Lisa saw my vision of having a Latin artist, a Latin urban R&B artist, but nobody else got it. They didn't get it. So that's why you never heard anything from him. He was a great songwriter, amazing singer. He even got up on stage with Blaque, and when they were singing "Bring It All to Me," "Baby Cold Baby, Bring It All to Me," he sang the J.C. Chavez part when they performed here in Atlanta.
For the fan tour?
No, no, it
Oh.
was another show, another major show that the girls were on, and they wanted him to sing with them.
So do you know what he's up to now? Like
Oh
what's
yeah,
going
he's a
on?
he's a he's a family man. He's still writing, so he's still writing music. He's a family man right now. Has like I think 3 or 4 kids, um, and um, works at a bank. He's writing country music now, so he's back and forth between Nashville and Miami. He lives in Fort Myers, Florida. He's doing well for himself. He's doing extremely well, not necessarily in the music business, but in life and his job. He went into banking after his music career, but he still stays really close to his music roots by writing music.
What
He's
does he
still
go
very
under? Is he still going under that name or is he going by a different name?
he goes under Angel. You can find him under Angel on Angel Cartagena on Facebook.
I'm about to pull him up right now, but Angel, because I've really been trying to figure out like what happened to him and hear some of his music, because I think that's the next slide too, because I try to like keep up and see what what the artists are doing now that were part of Wish Records and Left Eye Productions.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's the next slide. Yep, Left Eye Productions. So
Okay.
so now I know you said you weren't present someone during this time, but do you remember working with any of these artists?
I'm trying. I can't see him.
So
Can you?
so the top left is Je ne sais quoi. You said that you were
Of
managing
course.
them.
Right.
Um, Before we go any further, do you know what happened with Je ne sais quoi?
They, at one point, and this was one of the reasons why we fell out. Um, uh, what's his name? Wanye Morris from Boys to Men they were getting an award. Um, and so he was trying to, take over Je ne sais quoi. So he gave them a shout out on the award show, and he was like, don't worry, Je ne sais quoi, I got your back. And that was the name of one of the songs we produced on them. So that they were supposed to be going out with Wanye. Wanye was taking over my position as manager, supposedly, but eventually it just all fell apart. It just all fell apart. That and Drip Drop. Drip Drop, of course, was signed to Savvy Records with Pebbles. But she never really did it. They were featured in videos, the girls' videos, but that was it.
Yeah, they were in what the original version of What About Your Friends?
Yes.
It's on YouTube now. Okay, so now, but we're gonna let Blaque be the last one. Come on, we're gonna get the
Okay.
Blaque. So
Okay.
underneath you have Tangi, her cousin, which is her closest family member.
Right.
You
Yeah.
worked with her.
I've known, what the funny thing about Tangi, I never worked with her as an artist. I worked alongside her knowing that she was Lisa's cousin, but I never really worked with her as an artist. I never really saw her as an artist. I think that she was alongside Left Eye Productions possibly right before I rejoined, or partnered back up with Lisa. But I never worked with Tangi as an artist.
Okay, now on the bottom left in that picture, you have Sky Keaton. How about him?
Sky and I just met a couple of days ago. Sky's daughter Sky's daughter just did a record with Lotto. She's blowing up. Don't ask me her name. I can't think of what her name is, but
Okay.
she's getting huge now. She did a record with Lotto. She's toured with Kalani and some others and Glorilla and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So Sky he's still here. His kids are doing music now, but he's not doing music. But he is actually helping me out with Peach 3.
Okay. Okay.
So yes, Sky Keaton is still around.
Oh yeah, I know. I know. So the top right in that picture, we also not only we have Trinae and Katrina, I don't know. I'm blanking on names. Please excuse me, girls. Please excuse me when you watch this. But I know, of course, we got some of Blaque, but Silhouette. You have Kim Preston and you have Tamara Gray, who was on American Idol.
Right.
So have you ever worked with them?
I don't know. I don't think no. Mm-mm. I worked with Tamara. I knew Tamara.
Okay.
Was Silhouette before? That was before American Idol, though, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
I never worked with them directly. No.
Bottom picture, Nandi.
Nandi is a congresswoman.
Yep.
That she had a big sign. I'm trying to remember where my sign is. I got to get of her. I need to sign it. I got a big Inga Willis sign, elect. And I think she just got reelected. If I'm not wrong, I think she just
I
got
think she did.
reelected.
I think she did.
Yeah, so yeah, Nandi and I still are very cool. Very cool. Um, and yeah, I often get on her a lot because Nandi was one of the first ones to do a record with Lauryn Hill after Killing Me Softly came out.
She
Before
did a
the
song with Lauryn
presentation.
Hill.
Yeah, She has a song with Lauryn Hill that was badass. It was a dope ass song. I said, Nandi, you should have released this record. She had yep.
Wait,
So,
was this on for Lauren's album or was for her debut
it
album?
was for Nandi's debut album.
And Lisa was the executive producing too.
Yes.
Did Lisa and Nani do a song for that album? Do you know anything about that? Like,
Probably. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
did Lisa and Lauren Hill ever had any moments? Did you see?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
I was even surprised that she was able to get Lauren to do the record with Nandi. But of course, I keep forgetting how big of a celebrity that Lisa was, and that Lauren was still, despite her own fame, was still a fan. So of course she's going to jump on the record, but the record just fell to the wayside. That record is in existence. Somebody said that they had a copy of that song. So
Hmm.
yeah.
All right. And the last but of course not least, Blaque.
Blaque, I was working with what is her name? Uh oh, what's the name of the girls in Blaque? My mind just name the
Wait,
girls
what?
in Blaque.
Huh?
Name the girls in Blaque.
Shamari, Natina,
Shamari.
and Brandy.
Shamari. I was working with a Shamari and a group called Hourglass that
Mm.
Akon was producing for me.
Akon.
When yeah,
Okay.
when Ron and Ron's partner at the time, snatched her from that group and put her in Blaque.
Okay. Okay.
Again,
So
that was Blaque was formed. It was so funny because Blaque was formed on one of those times where, again, I was working for Electra Records. I told you that.
mm-hmm.
Lisa and I weren't working together, but we were staying in touch. And then Lisa had one of the producers I was representing produce a couple of records on Blaque's album. That's how I was able to get a Blaque um, plaque
Mm.
because they recorded the records in my studio. So that was my affiliation with Blaque. And then after Lisa had passed, I started working with them again and was trying to keep the mode of them together before
Natina.
Natina died. Yes.
Um, before I get to that, well, I will get to that now. Then it'll be a lighter point. So last month was the 12th anniversary of Natina's passing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you remember when you found out about what happened?
Yes, I do. I trying to remember where I was, and somebody had hit me and told me about Natina's passing and said that she had just gotten hit by a car. What was weird to me is that she died 10 years after Lisa did, and
Yeah.
I was the one who called the girls when I found out about Lisa's death. The girls found out about it from me.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how they found out that their mentor had passed. I called them and told them because, like I said, I was building a relationship with them because Lisa had moved on to Egypt, the group Egypt,
Yeah.
and I was kind of just being there for the girls mentally, and then she passed, and remember I was at a BMI function the night that Lisa had passed. I was outside and somebody called me and said, "Yo, man, I just heard that Lisa is gone." And I'm just like, "Come on, man. You know, don't play with me like that." And then I called the family. I called Wanda and her husband answered the phone, and I was like, "Yo, is it true?" And he was just quiet, and he was like, "Is what true?" I said, "Is Lisa gone?" And he said, "Yes, Lisa is gone." And I fucking flipped out. But I immediately I knew I had to let the girls know, so I let them know about it, and then 10 years later, somebody calls me and tells me that uh,
Natina had just gotten hit by a car. So it was crazy. It was crazy. It was definitely a crazy time.
Those two were very intertwined, like in so many. Black and TLC in general is intertwined in such a weird way. Like
Right.
it's so crazy. I'll go on and dissect it one day, but I do want to ask, what is your favorite song from the first Black album?
Um, the remake of Time After Time.
That was a good one. That's a good
Yes.
one.
That was my favorite record from that album. And then after that was I Do. And I Do. I love the pop feel of that record. And then after that was Bring It All to Me.
So wait, so you said when they were first recording, they were recording in your home, right?
No, they were recording some songs that they were
So
recording elsewhere. They were just recording the songs with my producer in my
okay.
studio. Yes.
So do you have any favorite memories while recording with them?
No, again, I'm
Yeah.
not a studio person, so they were in the room recording with my producer,
And you were just
and I was out and sitting
oh,
around.
goodness.
Yeah, at the my studio at the time was in a house. Like I told you, that I had partners with that, and when I fell out with my partners in that studio, that's when I went to work with Lisa, and she had just built a garage studio. But I was working with Electra Records, so I had this nice ADAT studio in my house that was very nicely built, and they would go back there, and I had a TV in my office, so I would just sit in my office and watch TV. This is when I moved. I told you, like when I first started with Electra, Lisa and I were in the same building. I moved out of that building into the studio house, and I had I had my office in there, so they would be in the back recording, and um I would be working in my office or just watching TV.
Okay. Wow. I mean, you said that you stuck to your words. Said, listen, I am not a studio guy.
Mm-mm,
I'm
no,
not. And I
I,
respect that.
the people think that it's weird, but every time, even with Peach 3, they'll go into the studio and I'll sit out in the lobby and I'm on my phone the whole time. They have to drag me in there so I can hear what they're working on. To
Understood.
this day. And I get that. It comes from my early days with working with Outkast. When we
Mhm.
were working on the Southern Playalistic album, we were working out of the studio that they own now, Stankonia. But before they owned it, Bobby Brown owned it, and it was called Bosstown. And
Mm.
we would stay in that studio all night and record and stuff like that. And I think that is the reason why I was like, you know what, I can't sit up here and record like that. That take just sounded fine to me. Why we got to record it 100 more times? So I had to get out of there.
I understand. Are you ready to go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
All right. Her features.
Yes. That what is that? Is that the ladies' night feature?
Yep, that's the one on the left, and you know what's up's on the right. Like,
Exactly. Of course, I wasn't part of either one of those features. That's the times where we weren't together.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? So, but of course,
So
I'm proud. I was proud that people respected her enough to even put her as features on projects, especially Ladies Night, along with all of those rappers, Angie Martinez, Missy Elliott, Lil Kim, um, who else was on that?
it
Brad,
was the Brad. Yep,
yeah,
the Brad, Angie Martinez, Missy, Lisa, and Kim.
and Kim, yeah.
Yep.
For her to be in that lineup was like the superstar lineup. Other than Angie Martinez, Angie Martinez was more of a radio personality, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody else, Lil Kim, Missy, Misdemeanor Elliott, and the Brat,
Mm-hmm.
to add Left Eye to that mix, for me was just like she's being respected. she's being respected. You know,
Yeah,
and then when she did she killed the girl, you know what's up. You know, she killed it,
yeah.
both on track and the video.
See now, actually, this part, what she did, you know what's up, was during that time where like I'm Pretty I came out. So yeah, she was like killing it. She was doing her thing, and Lisa was just amazing. Like, do you remember when you first heard? Also, this is like the potentially the 25th anniversary of when the album came out that had the song on it. Because I know the song came out in August, but the video was shot in August, but the album came out in November.
Hmm.
So that's like an
Most
anniversary of that too.
most of the time, my memories is always I've always seen Lisa in the videos first before I would hear the song on the radio. You know, it would always be the video, which works well with me because I love the visuals that Lisa always gave out. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I came to hear her features is, you know, watching Video Soul or something, some equivalent of that, you know, MTV Soul or whatever.
Are you ready for the next slide?
Yes.
Lisa working with and collaborating or just being in the same room with the other artists you worked with, like Outcast and Escape. You know what I'm saying? So like Outcast. So I remember, like I think we talked about that earlier too, about how um when they made their first break, it was on the remix of What About Your Friends? Like, so how do you know, how did you see that happen? Like, how it happened on your end, how it flowed on your end, and like, were you surprised?
No, we were looking for an avenue for Outkast, and this was the perfect avenue. We were asked to do the remix. We went in the studio, did the remix, and then we put Outkast on there as a support. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the girls were already blowing up because of, and everybody was aware that Rico Wade had brought me Leon, Tiana, and Lisa. So it was only fair that even though they weren't on that first album, that they at least have a remix. You know what I'm saying? So when they got assigned the remix and we had the boys, it was like, okay, well, this would be a great way to introduce Andre Antoine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we did.
So when you heard it, how did you like? What did you think?
I'm just excited. I was like, all right, I hope we do a remix video. We never did, but
That would have been
yeah,
great.
that would have been great. That
Missed
would have been great.
opportunity. One of the.
Hmm. Having TLC and Outkast, one of the two of the Face's biggest artists on their roster.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Together in the early days when nobody knew what they would have become, because
Mm-hmm.
this is pre-sex, crazy, sexy, cool, and this was pre-Players Ball. Even we hadn't even dropped a single at that point.
Mm-mm. Got their foot in the door, and that would have been a great way to even stamp it even harder.
Mm-hmm.
They just brought them on set of the video or something, just something. And then him and then Andre being on Something Wicked This Way Comes, and then Big Boy being on set of You Know What's Up, and Chili being in So Fresh So Clean. Like there was so many moments, and then I remember T-Boz. Someone said that T-Boz said that what really helped Outkast get on that record was because she cussed LA Reid out because she said you'd be dumb to not have them on a remix of the song.
Well, LA wasn't feeling Outkast. He
Mm-hmm.
really wasn't. Like he was more in tune with Organized Noise than he was with Outkast. But LA wasn't a hip hop head. LA was a pop R&B dude. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't into the hip hop scene, so he
Mm,
didn't know, especially the non-existent at the time Atlanta hip hop scene.
yeah.
So he wasn't sure. Like his label wasn't built to be a hip hop label. Like if you want them signed, take them to Def Jam or someone else that's more into this type of music, priority music or something like that. You know, so he wasn't really into the whole idea of bringing or having Outkast be a part of the roster. It's only because he wanted to build that relationship with Organized Noise that he finally conceded to do something with Outkast, but only through Organized Noise.
All right. So now we have Escape, and them in with TLC. Like, how did you feel seeing them together as well? Like,
It was a beautiful thing. They wrote one of their biggest records. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Is that Tiny with Candy, or is that just
that's
Candy and Alaska?
that's Tiny and Candy released on the set of "Am I Dreaming" music video.
Oh, okay,
Yep,
okay, yeah, with Keith Sweat and all of them,
yep, old
and
school.
and
Yeah,
and yeah, um, yeah, they wrote one of their biggest records. It was only obvious that they would, befriend each other and create a moment together. It just makes sense.
yeah. You ready for the next slide?
Yes.
I think this is the last one. The MOBO Awards.
Huh? Is this the MOBO Awards?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that is us. I know the one on the right is definitely. Oh yeah, that's the outfit she wore at the MOBOs. Um, my memorable moment here at the MOBO Awards was meeting Sade
It was
because
what?
meeting Sade.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm so mad. I took a picture of Sade and Lisa, but I did not get into a picture with Sade because I was too chicken shit to ask her to take a picture with me.
Oh.
Um, I was, oh my God, that's the most beautiful regal woman ever. Uh, you know, she's just, I was flabbergasted. Just being in her presence. It was like almost like Prince, almost. It wasn't the exact same thing, but being in her presence was really really dope. And being able to take a picture with Lisa and her was really cool too. The one on the right, of course, we're all hanging. That's Neo and Sean Newman. Is that not Neo? Donnell Jones, Sean
Yeah.
Newman, Lisa and myself. You know what I'm saying? I'll
Hmm.
tell you, that trip was great. That was great. That was a fun trip. Being up my that was my second time. I went to Europe twice that year. The first time, both times were with Lisa. The first time was to do promotions with Mel C and that single, and then the second time was for the mobile.
So now you said y'all about to hop on a plane in New York the next day. So like, what was the next trip after that?
True. We're just coming back home.
Okay.
Just coming back home. I don't remember what we did after the MOBO Awards, because that was like either the fifth or the sixth. I'm almost certain that we left the next day because all I remember was hugging the toilet, just putting that cold porcelain toilet on my hot face from throwing up in it all night.
Damn. Then I mean, happy birthday to you.
It was
Happy
a
belated
birthday
birthday too.
celebration.
Yes.
And I mean, how many people can say, I had everybody, LA Reid was in the building, everybody was buying me drinks. I was getting, and my stupid behind didn't know not to mix light liquor with dark liquor because that's what I did. And
Mm,
that jacked me up. Oh my
mm.
God, it jacked me up. I was like, oh, I'm done. Kill me now.
I think there is one more. Let me see. The cut.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The
Well,
cut.
again, this was a time when Lisa and I weren't together, but I watched the show all the time religiously on MTV because it was Lisa. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And just to watch her progression, because like for real, she was the only one in the group actually making these steps outside of the group. I think
Mm-hmm.
Chili had a cameo in a movie called
Have plenty.
How what?
Have plenty.
Have plenty. Everything. Boy. Damn, that's right. Have plenty. Um, but that was it. Everything else. Of course, they were sex as a weapon in one of the house parties, but that was them doing it together. But and of course, well, Tion did Belly.
Yep.
She had a major role in Belly. You know what I'm saying? But she didn't push that envelope, and I was really surprised. Like, I really feel that she could have gone far as an actress. But I don't know what stopped her. I know, of course, everybody knows of her health concerns and so forth and so on. And I think that may have stifled her a bit because of everything that she was going through regarding her health. But I
I know you.
always I saw
Mhm.
I saw uh, Left Eye just out there making big strides. And her strides would have been bigger had she not passed. I tell you, because I was sitting right there when she was coming up with these ideas for Chef Eye and the animated show that she came up with her being in space and animated cooking show where the sauces would fly out, bring recipes back, and she would. It was like, damn, where are you getting all this stuff from? And then us going to meet with Stan Lee about her superhero character. Um, there was a lot on the horizon, man. There was a whole lot on the horizon that the
Yeah.
world has missed out on because of her death.
Well, I want to backtrack a little bit. I know you were a little shocked when you found out T-Boz had sickle cell.
No, because I knew before all of that. I knew before all of that she had sickle cell.
Oh, because
Yeah,
she
I knew.
told you, or you just figured it out?
No, I knew, well, because I was dealing with her and her family when she was with Second Nature. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know what sickle cell would do to you or how it was triggered. Now I was shocked when, she started going through all of these situations. But no, I knew because my partner at the time um also had sickle cell. My partner that was working with me with him, Kenneth Kidd, the same gentleman that introduced me to Jermaine Dupri, rest his soul, God rest his soul, because he just passed last year.
Mm-hmm.
He also had sickle cell.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
May rest in peace. May rest in peace. Continue to rest in peace.
yeah.
Wow. When I was the slide
Yeah.
parts is over. The last thing I have is like there were certain fan questions. There were like only about three different fans that dropped questions, thankfully, because of the length of time of this interview. Yeah, I know it's been going on for a minute, so I'm want to pull up their questions right now for you,
Okay.
Ian. And here we go. Come on. All right. So the first question was from Scott Howard. His question was, one April Fool's Day, Lisa Left Eye Lopez had hijacked, quote unquote, um, a radio station in Atlanta for 4 hours. She played an upcoming unreleased TLC song. I believe it was a demo with only Lisa and Deborah Killing singing as TNC. Where is this song now? I had it on tape back then, but the tape is probably long gone.
Oh my goodness. I don't even remember that prank. I don't remember that prank. And it's definitely not beneath Lisa because Lisa did some crazy shit on April Fool's Day to her people. But I don't remember that. I certainly don't remember the song, and I'm very close with Deborah Killings. Um, I don't know.
Okay.
Mr. Howard, I'm sorry. I wish I could answer that question for you. I do not know. I do not even remember the prank. I definitely don't remember the song. So I apologize for that. I can't answer that question.
Any
Truthfully.
favorite Lisa pranks?
Oh, uh kidnapped. I think it was Blaque. Made
Oh,
it
we got
seem
that
like they,
story.
oh, you know the story, you know it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
When they
Oh
tied
yeah.
them up and stuff. Yeah, Lisa was she was a beast when it came to pranks. She was a beast. She would have gave Ashton Kutcher a run for his money. You know what
Imagine
I'm
her on
saying?
pranked.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was when I heard the story. I wasn't there, but I heard the story when I was like, "Yo, that is crazy." That was one of my favorite, probably my the favorite Lisa prank.
Mm. So here's the second question by Robert Jackson. I don't slightly understand the question myself, so please bear with me.
Okay.
How did Lisa you need, and did you think that she was going to go this far on your first encounter towards being famous?
How did Lisa what now?
I don't get the first question, but the rest I understand. It's like, I guess how did Lisa you need? That's what it says. How did Lisa you need? That was the first question. I don't get it,
Okay,
but
yeah,
the
no,
last half I understand.
yeah, no, no, I had no idea at that point. I wasn't familiar with who Lisa was when I first met her. I just knew that she could rap and she was
Mhm.
dope lyrically. But to the extent I found out later when she was bringing me Christmas ornaments to the job with T-Boz, and then when she was because they not only wore condoms early on, they also wore uh, birth control pills. They would have birth control pills attached to
Okay.
their clothes too. All of that stuff, all of it came from Lisa, and I was just like, I would just be like, well, damn, and I didn't know. There's no way of knowing that I was proud when the first record came out. I thought that they would be like a BBD, and I would be happy with that. BBD's first album was triple platinum, and then the second album, kind of floated
Mhm.
into the atmosphere. These girls, again, were able to reinvent themselves and take themselves up a notch each time they dropped a record. So, no, I had no idea that Lisa would have been as big as she became.
So, because I kind of question, um, excuse me, like the birth control part with her, she's wearing the birth control. Like, how did she rock that? Like, that would have been revolutionary right now.
You know
Very
what?
revolutionary.
They came to the three of them came to an event that I was doing in Atlanta before they came out. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm mistaken. I said that I met Chili on a set of a video.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mistake. They
Okay.
came to an event. They brought Chili to an event that I was at. I was standing outside. The three of them came up, and that's when I saw the condoms and everything for the first time. In my mind though, I was like, okay, this is kind of dope, but I don't think the world is gonna catch on to this. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw they had the condoms on one side and they had the birth control pills, safety pin to their clothes as well. And
Mm.
I was like, I don't know how the world's gonna take it. That's where I met Chili. This
Mm.
was before the record dropped. That's where I met her.
Okay. Okay. Um, so the last question that was asked is, I don't think you were here for this, but let's see what you have to say, because it says, did T-Boz really quote unquote punk Lisa into getting out of that limo and not going to that TRL thing?
You know what? I don't know. Are you talking about the interview that they did with oh boy and she wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Uh you know what? I don't believe that Dion is that type of individual. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't know if
Okay.
it happened or not because I wasn't there. I believe more that Lisa probably did want to show for whatever reason, whether she was on her period or what have you. I don't think that Tion has it within her to push her group member and punk her not to come in for an interview. I mean, because that really reflects bad on the group, and yeah, I would believe that about Chili before I believed it about Tion. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I can't answer that question. In all honesty, I wasn't there, but I don't believe it. If somebody told me that, I would be like, that's a lie. That's not true.
T-Boz actually said that herself in her book.
Did she really? Did she
She,
really? In which book?
a
My
sick
Sick
life. She said that it was during the emergency interview Lisa threw before they went on TRL. She was already fed up with Lisa. She could hear Lisa screaming, like being upset from the top of her lungs out the door. They get in the room, fussing about money, fussing about money. Chili tunes her out Lisa going to the in a limo car, and and then it's just her and Tion. They walk into the car, and then Lisa's still talking, and she says something that really triggers T-Boz, and then she got in her face and threatened to like whoop her ass. And she said Lisa ran behind her boyfriend, and their cousin walked up to the basically defend Tion if she got into the fight with Lisa's boyfriend. And basically, Lisa was going to protest being on the FanMail tour because she didn't think it was going to be a good lucrative idea. And she was going to go to TRL, but protest and say she's not going to be on the tour. And she said, if you go on there, I'm going to whoop your ass in front of everybody. And Lisa got in the car anyways. And she said that she beat on the limo window, and not some reason, but somehow she decided to come out the vehicle. She was crying, and she just went inside of her and back into the Trump Hotel. So that's what T-Boz said.
Okay. Well, I know T-Boz wouldn't lie. So that goes to show you, I didn't read My Sick Life.
It's okay.
I didn't read that book, but yeah, no. Okay, well, yeah. If she said it, then that's what happened. you know, Tia wouldn't make that up. Just like I wouldn't believe, like if somebody said that Tia did that, and there were times, like I said, me and Lisa would get into it. Tia and Lisa would get into it too. You know what I'm saying? So that is not so far fetched. I just know that Tia wouldn't make that shit up. If she said that's what happened, then that's what happened.
All right.
She's not into creating stories. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened. And I do know that Lisa got on her damn nerves from time to time, because I feel like she didn't understand her antics. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel, and I think she took a whole lot more shit personally as maybe she should have, because it's like, okay, you're messing with my money, but you have to realize that y'all jumped into a situation that got you into a broke situation before by signing those contracts. Now is the time for y'all to really sit back and examine everything, reevaluate everything, and make sure you're making the right decisions. Because Lisa may have had a point. Once again, I wasn't there, so I don't know. I do know that Lisa can be so annoying to get on her nerves. And Lisa was and Tion was like a dude. Like I said, we showed up at our house 2 o'clock in the morning. She like, hey, what do y'all want? You know what I'm saying? But um, yo, if I'm not, it wouldn't have surprised me. That whole incident, being that Tion detailed that in her book, that is probably 99.9% accurate. So I didn't know that.
Well, that's all the questions. That's the slides over with. Everything's that's theirs wrapped up. Is there anything you want to ask or anything you want to say? Any comments? Anything you want to mention?
No, I
Um,
just, if you talk to Ron before I do, tell him I need some, eyewear, Eyenetics for my group Peach 3. Like if you want to get it out there, you need to put some hats and some of those sweatshirts that's going on, put them on my group so we can do a photo shoot with them on. That's what he needs to do. So let him know. Like, hey man,
Well,
Ian
I'm
said,
interviewing him tomorrow. Him and Dante,
okay,
who both started this, so I'm interviewing them tomorrow.
let him know. Ian said that you need to get some of this gear over to the girls so we can put it in on their TikTok and IG. We don't have the biggest fan base now, but we're growing it. And anybody who watches this, please go and look up at Peach3 Music. That's at PEACH, the number 3 music on all platforms, TikTok, IG, Facebook, and X and fan base. So yeah, go check us out. You know what I'm saying? Um, and let me know what you think.
All right. Thank you, Ian, so much. I highly appreciate this a lot. This was a very nice, healthy, and grateful, lengthy interview. A great start.
It
A
definitely
great
was long,
start.
but you got a lot to pull from. That's for sure when you edit it.
Oh, yeah. And you did great. Thank you. Thank you so
My
much. Thank
pleasure,
you.
man. My pleasure. Anytime you need anything from me, just hit me up, bro. I love talking about my girl. You know what I'm saying, and it's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody who came in to watch this. This wasn't live. But I know people are going to tune in and watch this. So here we go. Thank you. Thank you, Ian.
Let me live. Let me live. Let me live. Y'all niggas really